Good morning to one and all. We are all gathered here for the 2-day national seminar on VEDΑΜGAS and Upavedas. Yesterday we had 2 sessions on the VEDΑΜGAS, and today we are having the 3rd session under Sri Anna Subramaniam Iyer. We have the 3rd session, Upavedas, under Sri K. Balasubramania Iyer, Right Honorable V.S. Srinivasa Sastri, and R. Srinivasa TATACHARI Endowments. The chairperson here is Dr.V.Kameswari Madam. I welcome her. I request Dr. Professor Srinivasan, K. Srinivasan sir to honor the chairperson. I request Dr. V. Preeti, Assistant Professor at the Kuppuswami Shastri Research Institute, to introduce the endowment and the chairperson.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Namasabhaye. The 3rd session is under Shri K. Balasubramania Iyer, Right Honorable V.S. Srinivasa Sastri, and Shri R. Srinivasa TATACHARI Endowments. Shri K. Balasubramania Iyer, the eldest son of the renowned Justice V. Krishnaswamy Iyer, was a distinguished scholar in Sanskrit and Tamil. He was a profound exponent of the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayana, and other revered texts. Shri Balasubramania Iyer served as the president of the Sanskrit Academy, Madras, and was one of the founding secretaries of the Kuppuswami Shastri Research Institute. A prolific speaker, he delivered numerous lectures at the Sanskrit Academy, Madras, leaving an indelible mark on the field of Sanskrit and Tamil scholarship. We thank the family members for making this endowment. Right Honorable V.S. Srinivasa Sastri, an eminent Indian politician, administrator, educator, orator, and Indian independence activist, was widely recognized for his exceptional oratory skill and mastery of English language. He delivered a series of 30 lectures on the Ramayana under the auspices of the Sanskrit Academy, Madras. These lectures were subsequently published in the book form, available in both English and Tamil. Due to this, its immense popularity, the book has been reprinted 8 times, with the most recent reprint released on the occasion of the Prana Pratishta of Sri Rama at Ayodhya during the 2024. The book is available for sale now. Shri R. Srinivasa TATACHARI was a retired railway officer. Though he was not a musician, he loved music, and he has done lot of works on music in Bombay. We thank his daughter, Mr. Nandini Patel Africa, for creating this endowment. We thank all the endowment makers. A small introduction about our chairperson of this session. I am fortunate to introduce my guru, mentor, and I have done my PhD under Dr.V.Kameswari ma'am, former director of the Kuppuswami Shastri Research Institute. She has more than 35 years of teaching and research experience. Her main areas of specialization are Sahitya, language and literature, and scientific literature. She has guided more than 35 PhD and research scholars to work on ancient sciences and varied fields of their interest, such as Dharmashastra, lexicography, Ganitha, botany, taxonomy, war science, etc. She has played a major role as the chief editor of the editorial board of the KSRI in bringing out numerous research publications of the institute, including the Journal of Oriental Research, Madras. She had also been the chief editor of the souvenir of the All India Oriental Conference 40th session held in Chennai in May 2000. She has participated and presented papers in various national and international seminars. She has translated numerous Sanskrit and Tamil texts into English for the annual Dakshina published by the Sahitya Academy. She has organized various seminars and workshops at the KSRI, including the 70th year anniversary of the institution. She has played a significant role in various positions of seniority as institutions such as Sanskrit Academy, Vishwa Sanskrit Parishad, Dakshina Bharati Samskrita Paricharini Sabha, the Presidency College and the Vivekananda College, Chennai, and Sahitya Academy, New Delhi. The Chennai chapter of Indic Academy honored Dr. V. Kameswari in the year 2019 as part of its annual program titled Grateful to Gurus towards promoting and preserving Sanatana Dharma. Recently, on the occasion of the Sanskrit Day celebration organized by the Samskrita Bharati, she was one among the eminent scholars, received the award from the Honorable Governor Mr. R.N. Ravi for her service to the field of Sanskrit. Her extensive teaching experience has inspired many students, researchers and Sanskrit enthusiasts to understand research and the study of ancient Sanskrit texts and Indian knowledge system. Thank you. We welcome you, ma'am.
Over to the chairperson. I request Dr. Kameswari ma'am to take over.
Good morning, everybody. Now it is 10:50. We have about 2.5 hours. No, 1.5 hours. Just 1.5 hours, and we have about 12 people. 12 people, 15 minutes each. 2 hours, 15 minutes. 15 minutes, leave it. 2 hours, only 2 hours. So okay, we have 12 people here. We'll have minimum of 10 minutes. I advise you all to cut off the introductory part. Cut it. And then come to the main part so that you will not miss the main part. Okay? Be prepared, all the people who are presenting today, the papers. Cut the introductory part, don't waste your time on it, and come to the main part, okay? So we'll start with the first person. Yes, Sumathi, Assistant Professor, Department of Sanskrit, Bishop Heber College, Trichy. Yes, yeah. She is going to talk on Upavedas, the multidisciplinary fields. Let us listen first. My advice to everybody, I am also going to learn along with you what Arthaśāstra and Gandharvaveda are going to say. So you can be at ease and present your paper. We will learn, and if at all we ask you question, it is only for clarification. So don't worry, carry on.
Good morning, everybody. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Veda. The word Veda in Sanskrit means knowledge or wisdom. According to Hinduism, the Vedas contain answers to fundamental existence questions regarding the divine, the universe, and the purpose of human existence. They are a collection of spiritual sounds that encode fundamental cosmic truth and have been in existence since the beginning of time. In Rig Veda, the collection of hymns to be recited is known as the Rig Veda. The collection of mantras of offering to God is Yajur Veda, and the music, the mantras to be sung in Sama Veda. And Itihasa Veda are also Vedas. The Upaveda refers to the fields of the knowledge that are said to be answered to the Vedas. They are subject of ancient technical works dealing with applied knowledge. Then the Upavedas are 4, the Ayurveda, Dhanurveda and Gandharvaveda and Arthaśāstra. The Vedas has briefly explained in all the fields: agriculture, astronomy, astrology, architecture, computer science, chemical science, dharma, economics, financial, geometry, geological, law, information technology, mathematics, medical science, mechanical engineering and music, Natyashastra, nuclear science, etc. Thus, agriculture was explained in Atharvaveda and in the Yajur Veda, and particularly in the Taittiriya Samhita. Astronomy was explained in Chandogya Upanishad. Astronomer was explained in Shukla Yajur Veda. Astrology was explained in Rig Veda to Yajur Veda. Architecture was explained in Mayamata, Manasara, Vishwakarma, Vastusastra and Shilpashastra. And computer science was explained in Panini's rules, Anuvriti, Upaveda, Paribhasha, Virodha Parihara, etc. And chemistry is the branch of science, and element of chemistry was explained in first Shukta of Rig Veda, and Karka Samhita explained how to prepare sulfuric acid, nitric acid, etc. And Dharma Sutra was explained in Rig to Yajur Veda. Mechanical engineering was explained in Samagana Sutra Dhara, and mathematics was explained in Pingala Sutra. Medical science was explained in Vaishajya Suktani of Atharva Veda. Law explained in Parashara Griya of Sutra Shukla Yajur Veda. The essence of Veda refers to the Kautilya in Arthaśāstra explained politics, political communities, political economy, public administration, productivity in agriculture, quality control by the state, and punishment of dishonesty and theft, theory of international relations, forestry, mining, state trading, weights and measures, surveying, shipping, passports, textiles, jails, and other major functions are minutely discussed along with the job descriptions and qualifications role of judges, a policy, manual for prisons and rules of evidence and other procedures all are explained in Arthaśāstra. And agriculture, according to Rig Veda and Atharvaveda, explain modern science of soil management, crop production, different stages of cultivation, plugging, showing, harvesting, threshing, presentation of agriculture, production, different types of farmers, cornfield, granaries, agriculture implementation, and clear idea of developed agronomy. In Rig Veda, the Setrashya Patinavayam, this slokas and the more slokas are explained in this this type of the how to agriculture in our fields. Then astronomy, according to Chandogya Upanishad of the Samaveda explained astronomy. Astronomy is a science that studies everything outside of the Earth's atmosphere, such as planets, stars, asteroids, galaxies, and the properties and relationship of these celestial bodies. The earth is the essence of all beings. The water is the essence of air. Herbs are essence of water, and man is the essence of herbs. Speech is the essence of man, and genus is the essence of speech, and Sam and Om is the essence of genus. Then Udgita is the essence of Om. The syllable Om is the most essential of our world. Then astrology according to Rig Veda to Atharvaveda explained in Jyotisha. Astrology is the belief that the positioning of the stars and planets affect the way events occur on earth. Astrology is mankind is being to not only influenced by the heredity factors and the environment, but also be the state of our solar system at the moment of birth. The plants are regarded as the basic life forces, the tools we live by, as well as the basis of our very substances. These planetary forces that take place on different forms depending on the zodiacal positions and on the way of relate to one another. Architecture. According to Manasara explained the science of architecture, then is described the selection of the site and the rules for erecting the Norman and arrangement of grounds plans for assigning the quarters of gods and others. The rules and regarding architecture offerings and deals with the village schemes as also for the town plans together with the regulations of the regarding the dimension of stories. That means the ஒவ்வொரு ஸ்டெப்ஸும் நம்ம எப்படிலாம் பண்ணணும், எப்படி ஆர்கிடெக்சர்ஸ் இது பண்ணணுங்கிறத ரொம்ப அழகாக ஒவ்வொரு இதுலேயும் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. அதுக்கு எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ் ஆர் த ஸ்டைல்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஆர்கிடெக்சர்ஸ் ரெகக்னைஸ்ட் ஆன் த பேசிஸ் ஆஃப் கிரவுண்ட் பிளான் ஆர் ஸ்கொயர்ஸ், ரெக்டாங்குலர், சர்க்குலர், எலிப்டிக்கல், apsidal, stellar, ashtanga vimana and sharvodbara, etc. Then Pragadishwara temple and Tanjavur and Sri Meenakshi temple at Madurai are square type of vimanas, and Srirangam temple and Trichy and Padmanabha temple and Trivandrum are rectangular type vimanas, and Perambalur Shivan temple and Surya Narayana temple at Kannur are circular type vimanas, and Sri Vidyashankar temple at Sringeri and Alagar temple at Madurai are elliptical type vimanas, and Kudalalagar temple at Madurai and Sri Shauminarayanan temple at Tirukoshtur are Ashtanga vimana, and Vishnu temple and Bellur and Shiva temple at Helabedu are stellar type vimanas, and Chaturmukha Bhakti are Karkala and Karnataka and Uttaramerur Sundaravaradatha Perumal temple at Tamil Nadu are Sharvodbara type vimanas. Then computer science. The computer science also explained in Vedas. The information technology and artificial intelligence, binary notations is the basis on which the entire electronic gadgets, including the modern day computer works. The binary notations are based of two number systems that represents the numeric value using two symbols, zeros and ones. No more specially as usual basis of two system is potential notations with the radix of 2. Because it's the implementations of Lagu and Guru, this type is the binary notations in our computer systems. Some examples of computer systems and Sanskrit languages are the Namadaya statements and the Atharvaveda REM statements and logic programs of Arthabhavana and Ekapadapura, Ekapadarupa, this dimensions. These are the declaring the arrays and their data types. Then chemistry. According to the element of chemistry was explained in first Shukta of Rig Veda, and Karka Samhita explained how to prepare sulfuric acid, nitric acid, etc. In this loka, Avartamane Kanakapita Tare Shrita Prame Sulabha, this means in this loka explain this how to prepare this. The sloka explain how to identify types of metals at the time of fire flames. The color of the flame for metals are gold yellow, silver white, copper blue and iron black, tin ash, lead dirty of fire color, pure iron ash, mica brown, diamond many colors, then pale white. Then mathematics. Mathematics was explained in Pingala Sutra and Bija Ganitham. All the alphabets or Sanskrit language could represent various numbers in Katabaya coding and Vedic numerical code, higher principles of mathematics. Then medical sciences. Medical science was explained in Rig Veda to Atharvana Veda. And Rig Veda explains the usage of natural therapies like sun rays, fire, air, water for the prevention of diseases. Yajurveda references about the anatomical structure of human beings and animals have been widely discussed. The 12th chapter of Sukla Yajurveda explains about the medical properties of the herbs and their applications, collections and preservations. And Samaveda refers or seen about the usual of natural therapies. And Atharvana Veda explains the Ayurveda. There's full of background of the Ayurvedas. They also discuss about the anatomical structure, digestions and metabolism, circulatory systems, pathology. Then Baisajya Kalpana, Baisajya Shukta and Baisajya all the rogas, what types of rogas, what types of medicines are cures in this all of the in Baisajya Kalpana and Baisajya Shuktas. And Ayurveda is a traditional healthcare systems that contributes significantly towards healthcare of human body. So this prevention is better than cure, and for preventing diseases, Ayurveda recommends natural diets such as consuming cereals, pure vegetables and fruits and dinacharyas as mentioned in Ayurvedic texts. All the Vedic scriptures are historical and true. They give the knowledge by which human beings can not only make their living in this world but also perfect their lives by uplifting their consciousness to the highest level and going back to God after this life. Vedas and Upavedas are wide as an ocean. It is not within the scope of this presentations. Thank you, on and all.
A precise paper, but one or two things you should take into consideration. Jyotisha was discussed yesterday. It is one of the Upangas, Vedangas. It doesn't come under Upaveda. Okay.
Thank you.
Then when you are talking about engineering, mechanical engineering, computer system, you can say some points are there which could be referred in Sanskrit, not the entire system. We cannot claim that we have everything in Vedas or anything. That we should not do. Some statements you may remove. Okay. Computer science, you did give some points. Those are very nice. But the general statement that Vedas talk about computer system and Sanskrit has everything about computer is tall claim which we should not do.
Okay.
So you can omit that in your next paper.
Okay, ma'am.
And then you have not, when you say Upavedas, we have given Gandharvaveda and Dhanurveda, which you have not included. So kindly include that when you are going to present it as a paper somewhere for publication. Okay? You add that.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Jinu Reachel, please come. She is research scholar, Sri Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kalady. She is going to talk about strategic importance of fort constructions in Arthaśāstra.
Good morning to all, and my topic is the strategic importance of fort constructions in Arthaśāstra. The Arthaśāstra is an indispensable ancient Indian text attributed to Kaudilya, also known as Chanakya, a prominent philosopher and economist and statesman, composed in the 4th century BC. This treatise provides a comprehensive framework for understanding the governance, politics, military tactics, and economic strategy. The work is not merely a guide but a definitely manual for rulers and asserting the maintain power effectively within their realms. Kaudilya lays out the critical strategies for diplomacy and efficient resource management, making it clear that real politic and pragmatic decision making are essential for achieving success and ensuring stability. In his historical context, the text reflects the socio-political landscape of ancient India, where architecture served as a manifestation of a power and a tool of governance. The planning of cities, fortifications, and the public works outlined in the Arthaśāstra reveals an advanced understanding of urban infrastructure and its role in facilitating trade, defense, and public order. The methodology for the site selection, resource allocation, and the design principles articulated in the Arthaśāstra have left an indelible mark on the regional architectural styles that followed, showcasing the text-lasting legacy in shaping the built environment of India. The construction of forts in Arthaśāstra. In Arthaśāstra, the construction of fort is detailed in Book 2, named Adhyaksha Prachara Dvitiya Prakaranam, Chapter 24, Section 21. The classification of forts in Arthaśāstra discuss mainly four types of forts, each serving different strategic purpose and reflecting the needs and resources of a kingdom. Fortification shall be established on all four sides of the country to defend against enemy attacks, utilizing the natural features to enhance their effectiveness. Here are the main types of forts mentioned in the text. Then Vanam Durgam or desert fort. Then Vanam is a type of a fort that lacks of available water and is typically surrounded by the thickest growing in barren soil. Example, Jaisalmer Fort of Rajasthan, the Great Thar Desert, Odaga Durgam or water fort. This type of a fort is surrounded by water bodies which can be either natural lakes or hollow areas that are not easily accessible. Example, the Murud Janjira Fort of Maharashtra is surrounded by the Arabian Sea on all sides. Next one is Giri Durga or hill fort. This type of fort is located either on the summit of the hill or in a valley and is also surrounded by the stones, pebbles or a cave in a mountain. Example, Chittor Fort of Rajasthan is the largest hill fort of the state, standing on hill that is 180 meters. Last one is Vanadurgam or forest fort. This is strategically placed fort fortification situated in the marshy environment characterized by the dense mire and thickest which severely restrict movement. Example, Kalinjar Fort of Uttar Pradesh. Out of four main divisions, water and mountain fortification are regarded as the best and it is permanent and it provides the security of the villages. Other two, which is Dhanvanam and Vanadurga, are not be resorted in two times of emergency. Then materials used in fort construction: stone, granite and limestone, used for their durability and strength. These materials form the primary structural components of many forts. Sandstone, common in regions where it was locally available. Sandstone was often used to decorative features and walls. Fired bricks were employed for their strength and uniformity, enabling the construction of solid walls that could withstand of sieges. Wood, Timber was used in the construction of various defensive structures, gates, and even some walls. Dense wood was particularly favored for its strength and resilience. Mud and earth. Mud was used in the construction of earthen walls, partially in temporary forts like Mahidurga, which provide a quick, easily portable solution. Metal. Iron and other metals were essential for constructing weapons, armor, and the defense mechanism within the fort. Iron tools also facilitated the construction process itself. Then move to the strategic importance of the fort construction. Kaudilya's insights on fortification were not only focused on military defense but also on ensuring the overall stability and security of the kingdom. Here are some key ideas. First one is location selection. Kaudilya emphasized the importance of choosing strategic locations for forts. Ideal sites should include elevated terrain and proximate to water sources and natural barriers such as rivers or mountains that could enhance the security and make it difficult to force to mount an attack. Artificial features. The structures such as watchtowers and gates were strategically placed to enhance surveillance and defense. The text emphasized the designing these features to maximize their defensive potential. Kaudilya also follows the specific measurements like dandam, which means 6 feet, angulas and hastas. Then resource management, effective resource allocation was crucial. Kaudilya's advised fort architects to integrate the provisions for storing food and water within the fort to withstand long sieges. He stressed the availability of resources to support both the Garrison and the civilian populations. The defensive mechanism. The incorporation of various defense technologies and obstacles such as moats, spikes and ditches was recommended to deter attacks. Additionally, he highlighted the importance of training soldiers to effectively defend these strategic constructs. Empathy and community safety. Kaudilya's strategies recognize the psychological aspects of security. He advised rules to consider the welfare of civilians with the forts walls promoting stability and the resilience in society, which ultimately fortified the community's resolve in the times of distress. Intelligence and surveillance. Gathering intelligence about potential threats and maintaining a watchful eye over the surroundings were crucial components of fort strategy. Kaudilya placed great emphasis on having scouts and spies to provide timely information regarding enemy movements. Adapting to enemy tactics, understanding and anticipating enemy strategies was essential. Kaudilya advocate for the constant evaluation of enemy capability and the adjustment of fort designs and defensive strategies accordingly. Then moat designs. The strategic use of moats surrounding water forts was recommended to enhance the defense capability, ensuring that attackers would have difficulty accessing the fort. Ramparts and moat designs in Arthaśāstra are wide range of varieties. Some ramparts are Janu Banchani, knee breaker, Trishula, a trident, a spike fitted at the tip of the wooden arrow, pits, obstacles resembling the teeth of dog and roads, etc. Though these ideas Kaudilya's teach in the Arthaśāstra provide a comprehensive framework for fort construction that aim to bolster the security and stability of kingdom in the face of external threats. Then compare with other architectural texts like Manasara and Mayamada. The most important ancient Sanskrit treatise on Indian architecture is Manasara, dated 5th to 7th century. Mayamada was composed around 11th and 12th century. Both treatises were described constructions of the fort. Mayamada, there are 7 types of forts described in Mayamada. They are explained in the 10th chapter named in Nagarvidhanam, which covers town planning and the 7 types of forts. Girivana Jala, Pange, Irana, Daivida, Misrani, Sapta Durgani. In Manasara, there are 7 types of fort discussed in Manasara. This also explained in chapter 10 titled Towns and Forts, Nagarvidhanam. Giridurgam, Vanadurgam, Salilam, Pangadurgam, Radhadurgam, Devadurgam, Misradurgam, Tadaivacha. The construction of these two fort treatises are notable similar. Kaudilya's Arthaśāstra is distinct from the other Vastu texts, focusing on the fort construction, the safety of kings within the forest and the strategies to protect these forts from enemies. Kaudilya may not be a renowned architect, but his strategic approach to constructing fort is exceptional. The fort's ornamentation, the defense mechanism, ramparts and the moats are not only effective but also visually appealing. While it's not a primarily an architectural treatise, the Arthaśāstra serves as a valuable guide for various purposes. At last conclusion, the strategic significance of Kaudilya in the construction of fort is not only rooted in military tactics but also in the deep understanding of the challenges faced by those in the power. Kaudilya provided invaluable guidance to rulers who were grappling with the needs of security in an unpredictable world. His insights emphasize the importance of choosing fort locations that offered natural advantages such as elevated terrain and access to the water sources, which would elevate the worries of leaders about the safety of their people. By promoting comprehensive fort design and resource management, Kaudilya's principle helped create stronghold that could withstand siege, giving rulers and their communities a sense of hope and safety in time of conflict. His strategies were crafted with empathy, recognizing the vulnerability of those resilient, effective defense and resource preservation, ultimately fostering resilience and the stability of the societies that followed his teachings. Thank you.
You have done a good paper, actually.
Thank
you have run fast, you have read the text fast. And if you have done the PPT, people would have understood. Okay?
Okay.
PPT
Next.
becomes a very easy thing for everybody to follow it. And one thing is that you compared it with Mayamata and Manasara, that's very good. You cited the text for Mayamata and Manasara, but no citation from Arthaśāstra.
Oh.
Okay? So if you do the PPT, then you will have the text over there. Everybody can see the text. That will be good.
Okay,
She has, for the people who could not follow her in the early stages, she was very fast. She had talked about the 4 types of forts, desert fort, water fort, Giri fort and Vanadurga. And then the important strategic point of military, defense and ecological stability and everything being taken care of by the construction of the fort has been brought by her to us. It was very well done actually, except for the 2 problems. You are going fast, one thing, the other thing PPT would have been beneficial for your paper. It was quite interesting. Good, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mrs.M.Sivapriya, please come. Assistant Professor, Department of Sanskrit, Bishop Heber College, Trichy. She is going to talk on Samskrita Drishya Kavye Sangeetasya Upayogita Visheshaha.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, Namasabaye, Namasarvebhyaha. Sanskrita Vangmaye, Narada Munihi, Virachita, Gandharvavedaha, Rigvedasya, Samrachanatmaka, Gati Vikyaneshu, Anyatamaha Asti. Sangeetasya Utpatihi, Samavedaha Asit, Vayam Janimaha, Pachat, Tasya, Upavedaha, Gandharvavedaha Idi, Vyavaharaha Kritaha. Gandharvaveda Sangeetam, Vyavastha Vyaktistu, Bhavanatmakam, Saririkam cha Karyam, Sakaratmaka Rupena, Prabhavitam Bhavati, Sangeetam Ityukte, Swaram, Vadyam, Nirtyam cha Bhavati, Aksharatmakam Kavyam, Kavyam Bhavati, Aneka Vidam, Drishyam Sravya Bedau Tatra Mukhyo, Evam Drishya Kavye Sangeeta Sastrasya, Mahatva Purnaha, Bhagaha Bhavati. Samskrita Natakasya Prastavana Nyayate Yasya Abhinayaha Sangeetasya Prayogam cha Vina Na Bhavitum Arhati. Bharatamuni Virachita Natisastre Panchama Vedaha Nati Vedaha Idyapi Uchyate. Samabhyo Geetamiva cha Yajurvedat Abhinayat Idi Vayamapi Janimaga. It Yuktan Ansarena वैदिकवाङ्मये यजुर्वेदतः अभिनयं सामवेदतः गानं च इत्यस्य महत्त्वं ज्ञातुं शक्यते। महाकवि भरतात् आरभ्य कविभिः सङ्गीतनाट्ययोः विस्तरेण निरूपणं भवति। एवं च नाटकं सङ्गीतेन सह सम्बन्धम् इति विषये दृश्यकाव्ये गान्धर्ववेदस्य उपयोगिता विशेषिताः तद् अधिकृत्य प्रबन्धः अत्र प्रस्तूयते। अङ्गानि वेदाचत्वारतो मीमांसा न्यायविस्तरः पुराणं धर्मशास्त्रं च विद्यास्त चतुर्दश। अस्य श्लोकस्य अयमर्थः शिक्षा व्याकरणं छन्दः ज्योतिषं निरुक्तं कल्पः इति षडङ्गानि। ऋक् यजुर् साम अथर्वण इति चत्वारो वेदाः। मीमांसाशास्त्रं न्यायशास्त्रं पुराणं धर्मशास्त्रम् इति चतुर्दश विद्यायाः भवन्ति। ये चत्वारो वेदाः सन्ति तेषाम् उपवेदा अपि चत्वारो भवन्ति। ऋग्वेदस्य आयुर्वेदः, यजुषो धनुराह्वयः, साम्नो गान्धर्ववेदस्यात्, अर्थशास्त्रम् अथर्वणः। ऋग्वेदस्य उपवेदः आयुर्वेदः, यजुर्वेदस्य धनुर्वेदः गान्धर्ववेदः, साम्नो उपवेदो भवति। एवम् अर्थशास्त्रम् अथर्वणस्य भवति। साहित्य संगीत कलाविहीनः साक्षात् पशुः पृच्छविषाणहीनः तृणं न कारन्नपि जीवमानः तत् भागगेयं परमं पशूनां। मनुष्याणां तावत् साहित्य संगीतज्ञानम् अत्यावश्यकं भवति, नो चेत् मृगसमानत्वं भवति इत्येच्यते। शिशुवैति पशुवैति वेति गानरसं बणि इति लोक उक्तिः वर्तते। दृश्यकाव्ये नाटके च संगीतं गानम् इत्यादिकं संयोज्य काव्यनाटकरचनानां कुर्वन्ति। रचयितायाः केवलं वचनमात्रेण पठितुं दृष्टूनां च मनसि सन्तोषेण न जायते। शृङ्गारहास्य करुणा इति समानुभावो अपि न भवति। सङ्गीतशास्त्रं वेदात् उत्पन्नं भवति। तत्र व्याकरणशास्त्रे पाणिनीयशिक्षायां स्वरविषये एवम् उक्तं भवति। उदात्त निषाद गान्धारो अनुदात्त वृषभ इति स्वरित प्रभावात् हृदये षड्ज मध्यम पंचम इति। नाट्यस्य उत्पत्तिः। नाट्य उत्पत्तिः वेदात् मन्यते। वेदस्य संयोगे सूक्तानि नाट्यस्य उत्पत्तिः बीज्यम्। नाट्यम् अर्थात् अवस्थानुकृतिर् नाटकम्। अहं सङ्गीतं न जानामि, किन्तु सङ्गीतेन नाटकं वा रूपकम् अस्ति चेत् उत्तमं भवति इति मम विशेषः। धन्यवादः। धन्यवादः। क्षम्यताम्।
She has just given a glimpse of how music is important in dramas. I had expected you to take up a drama and show where music is used, like Shakuntalam or Malavikagnimithram or Vikramarushan, anything, where music is used. In Malavikagnimithram, you do have a dance contest, so you can music and dance are used there. So that you should have done. That would have added merit to your paper. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Good effort.
धन्यवादः।
R.Gayathri, research scholar KSRI. She is going to talk about interesting topic, types of fraudulent acts in the preparation and maintenance of accounts in Arthaśāstra.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Fraudulent acts are a growing concern for commercial enterprises and governments across the globe. The trend is too alarming and commands immediate attention from the government, regulatory bodies and the enterprises. Besides causing financial losses, it's a notable impact on the economy and the country as a whole. A few of the common frauds are collusion with the vendor to defraud the company or the stakeholders, misrepresenting the financial information, theft or misuse of cash, fraud in reimbursing expenditure, and fraud in payroll. Next. This draws attention to the various fraudulent acts described by Kautilya in his Arthaśāstra, which may lead to the depletion of the treasury as early as 3rd century BCE. And more. Next one. So, all activities and undertakings of the government are dependent on the treasury. Kosha Purvaha Sarvarambaha. Hence, Kautilya emphasizes that the king must first and foremost focus on the treasury. And Thiruvalluvar too rightly puts it, Iyattalum, Eattalum, Kaathalum, Kaatha Vahutalum Vallada Arasu. He is the king who is capable of acquiring, preserving and wisely distributing wealth. So, Kautilya specifies the following aspects as the means of increasing the treasury. Charitranugraha, cherishing of customs and practices. Next. Chora Nigraha, suppression of thieves. Next. Yukta Pratisheda, control over employees. Sasya Sampat, luxuriance of crops. Panya Bahulyam, abundance of commodities. Upasarga Pramokshaha, deliverance from troubles and calamities. Parihara Kshayaha, reduction in exemptions. And Hiranyopayanam, presence in cash. He also lists out the causes of depletion of the treasury. First is Pratibandha, hindrance. Failure to carry out a work, failure to realize its fruit, or failure to deliver it into the treasury. This amounts to hindrance. Prayogaha. This refers to unauthorized lending of the goods from the treasury. Vyavaharaha. This is unauthorized trading in state commodities to one's own benefit. Avastaraha. Concealment or fabrication. If the officer in charge makes the due date as not due and the date not due as due, that is concealment. Parihapanam. If the officer causes a diminution of the fixed revenue or increase in the expenditure sanction, it amounts to causing loss. Upabhogaha. Abuse or self-enjoyment. The person charged for Upabhoga is one who personally uses the king's goods or allows someone else to use it. Parivartanam. Interchange or exchange. The appropriation of king's goods by substitution of other goods is termed as interchange. Apaharaha. Misappropriation or defalcation. If the officer does not deliver the income that is accrued or does not pay the expenses put down in writing or denies the balance received, that is misappropriation. And the punishment for all these frauds are also given below. For hindrance, the punishment is 10 times the amount of loss caused. For lending, it will be twice the amount of earning or profit thus made. For trading, it is twice the amount of profit earned of such trade. For concealment or fabrication, it is 1/5 of the amount of loss. He has specified Panchabandha. For causing loss, the fine is 4 times the amount of loss. For abuse or self-enjoyment, the fine is as follows. If the person is guilty of using the king's gems and jewels, he can be even sentenced to death. And it is punished with middlemost amercement for enjoying the royal articles of high value. And for usage of lower value, goods of lower value, it is punished with the restoration of the articles along with a fine equal to the value of such articles. And for interchange, it is the same as Upabhoga. For misappropriation, the fine is equal to 12 times the amount of loss. And Kautilya clearly points out 40 types of fraudulent practices, haranopayaha, possible by the officers in the process of discharging their duties. Purve siddham paschad avataritam, realization of accruals during one period in the subsequent period. Paschat siddham purvam avataritam is the reverse of the previous one. Sadhyam na siddham and asadhyam na siddham. Asadhyam siddham. That is not carrying out something which ought to have been carried out and vice versa. Siddham asiddham kritam, asiddham siddham kritam. This is accounting for things which have been carried out as not being carried out and vice versa. Alpa siddham bahukritam, bahusiddham alpakritam. This is overstatement and understatement. Anyat Siddham Anyat Kritam. This is recording something else and then what has been carried out. This refers to the quantity or quality. Quantity of goods, or the goods might be exchanged. If they say rice, they might have given wheat. Only this thing will be different. Anyataha Siddham Anyataha Kritam. This is recording transactions from one source as another source. Deyam na dattam and adeyam dattam. This is not to pay something which ought to have been paid, and vice versa. Kalena dattam refers to payments which have not been paid within the specified time. Akale dattam, to pay something untimely which is not required. And alpam dattam bahukritam and bahu dattam alpakritam. This refers to paying a small amount and recording as a higher amount, and vice versa. Anyat dattam anyat kritam. That is to pay one thing and record as some other thing. Next. Anyato dattam anyataha kritam. This refers to paying to someone and record as payment to another. Pravishtam apravishtam kritam and apravishtam pravishtam kritam. This is to deliver into the treasury which and record as not being delivered, and vice versa. This kupyam adatta mulyam pravishtam datta mulyam na pravishtam. This refers to forest produce being delivered without the price being paid, and vice versa. Sankshepo vikshepaha kritam and vikshepaha sankshepo va. This refers to concentration of goods recorded as dispersal, and vice versa. In case it's a group taxation or something, they get it from one group and record it in different names. That is sankshepo vikshepaha kritam.
What about the
18th one.
But not record. Is it a...
No, and record as payment another. So, suppose yeah. So, vikshepaha sankshepa va is the vice versa of 23. Mahargam alpargena parivartitam. Next one. Next one. Alparge mahargenava. This is changing the object of low value to high value, and vice versa. Samaropitorgaha is increasing the price. Pratyavaropitova is decreasing the price. Samvatsaro masa vishamaha kritam. The year is made discrepant as to the months. Those days they had this intercalary months. So they would just make this thing discrepancy as to the number of months. Maso divasa vishamova. This is month is made discrepant as to the days. Samagama vishamaha is discrepancy as regards the source. Mukha vishamaha and karmika vishamaha refer to discrepancies on head of income and workmen. Nirvartana vishamaha and pinda vishamaha refer to discrepancy in performance and sum total. Varna vishamaha and arga vishamaha, discrepancy in quality and price. Mana vishamaha, mapana vishamaha and bhajana vishamaha. These refers to discrepancy in weighing, measuring, and the vessels or containers used for measuring. These 40 acts are mostly complementing each other or resulting out of one another. In the current day scenario, the rules laid down by Kautilya form a solid base for maintenance and audit of accounts and taxation. The present day taxation portfolio also has been broadly based on the taxation laws, punishments and penalties specified in the Arthaśāstra. This can be viewed from a few instances. So, the Companies Act 2013. With respect to trading, concealment and abuse of position and misappropriation, a similarity could be drawn to section 447 of the Companies Act, which provides punishment for fraud. Fraud includes any act, omission, concealment of any fact or abuse of position committed with an intent to deceive. The punishments issued by Arthaśāstra is listed there. I have spoken about it already, I don't want to add. As per the Companies Act, for a public company, if there is a fraud involving a sum of more than 10 lakh rupees or 1% of turnover, whichever is lower, the punishment is imprisonment between 3 years and 10 years and a fine between the amount of fraud and 3 times the amount of fraud, depending on the volume of the fraud or something. And for private company, minimum period of imprisonment is 6 months, the monetary aspect is the same. If the fraud involves a sum of less than 10 lakhs or 1% of the turnover, whichever is lower, the imprisonment is for a maximum of 5 years and maximum fine up to 50 lakhs. In case the same offence is repeated by the same person within a period of 3 years, the company and the person at default shall be punishable with twice the amount of fine in addition to the imprisonment provided for such offence, under section 451 of the Companies Act. Then the Income Tax Act 1961. With respect to the offences of concealment or fabrication causing loss and abuse, there are multiple provisions which are provided under the Income Tax Act. Section 270A is about the underreporting and misreporting of income, and the penalty is 50% of tax payable, as you can see from the slide. Because it will become a bit lengthy, I have been given a short time only. So 271A is penalty for false entry, 271C is penalty for failure to deduct tax, and 271CA is for penalty for failure to collect tax at source. 271FAA is penalty for furnishing inaccurate statement in financial transaction. 276B and BB for failure to pay tax deducted and collected to the credit of central government. So this is clearly talked in Arthaśāstra also. And 276C deals with willful attempt to evade tax. All these things are mostly punishable with imprisonment also under Income Tax Act. And next we go to Indian Penal Code 1861 and Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023. So with respect to the principles of misappropriation and abuse, relevant provisions are provided in the newly enacted Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which we call BNS 2023, as well as the IPC 1861. Section 314 of BNS and Section 403 of IPC deals with dishonest misappropriation of property. Provides that any person who dishonestly misappropriates or converts to his own use any movable property shall be punished with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 6 months, but which may extend to 2 years and with fine. Section 316 of BNS, Section 405 of IPC, dealing with criminal breach of trust, states that any person entrusted with property dishonestly misappropriates or converts to his own use that property, or dishonestly uses or disposes of that property, he is guilty of criminal breach of trust, and he shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 5 years or with fine or with both. Next, Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Section 7 of the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 takes inspiration from the principle of not carrying out something which ought to have been carried out due to taking bribes, etc. from the person concerned. So, under this, any public servant who obtains an undue advantage as a reward with the intention to perform public duty improperly or dishonestly, and performs improperly or dishonestly a public duty, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 3 years, but which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to fine. Apart from these frauds dealt in by various legislations as discussed above, a few more frauds are gaining momentum in this internet-driven world, wherein online transactions and shopping are vulnerable to cheating as regards price, quantity, quality, source, banking frauds, PIN numbers, and so on. When Kautilya has been very skillful in predicting these frauds, even as early as 3rd century BCE, we should exhibit some more alertness in combating the same. Let's all beware of all frauds. Thank you all. Next, ma'am.
Good paper.
Thank you, ma'am.
And what's her name? Fort. Who talked about Fort? Gina? What's her name? Jinu? She is not here. She has gone out. See the way she has prepared the PPT. The talks for itself as well as it is very nicely done. Okay, that should be followed. First, my question.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you play. Carry on. Yeah. Do that.
Okay. No, you just sell it off. You say discount and all. But it may. Huh? Yeah, but he has referred it in Arthaśāstra those days. That is the 40 ways of fraudulent acts that has been defined in Arthaśāstra. Yeah.
When the person is guilty of stealing money from the temple treasury or from the treasury, is only he punished, or in extraordinary cases can his family also be punished?
No, that I'm not very sure about that.
Okay.
if it's the king's personal property which he is using, he can even be given a capital punishment. But for
இது மட்டும் நீங்க செக் பண்ணுங்க.
not the family, it is not, they are not referring about the family.
That's what I also thought. So both in Thiruvottiyur and Tirunirmalai, Chola period la, onla vandu they broke open a treasury, they stole the gold, they resealed the box la irukra sealiyum, they resealed it, and the security dooriyum they resealed. And then when the audit, they found out that the gold was missing. So adula vandu that the person who was a security guard and the priest, their family rights were also revoked and their family members were punished. Thiruvottiyurlu idhe madri, when the Chola did an audit, the quantity of the gold and the quality of the gold was missing. There was a discrepancy. So 3-4 months or audit vechu angiyu vandu the brother's side of the family were also punished.
Okay,
so
maybe they were all beneficiaries of the, they might have been the beneficiaries
they
also.
Could have.
And and the rules depend, and moreover it depends on each and every king how he punishes and all. It's this thing.
Not only that, it is neither the ministers nor the kings, it is the God's property. So that's all the more punishable. You should not do that. That is not there in Arthaśāstra. I do not know about modern law.
Recently, I have been appointed as a commissioner to take inventory of the jewels in Thiruvattar temple, because there was a theft and it is stated some valuable gold articles were found missing. I have been asked to go and conduct inventory. I think this punishment will be helpful to me.
In this correction, I want to add a point. Recently, we are editing a commentary on Arthaśāstra. Partly, it is only a part commentary for the first 3 chapters we have. In that, there are 2 words used. One is lich, to what is it? Lich to taste. And the other is book, boju to eat. So he says, if the person may be newly appointed, so he does not know how to take the money, appropriate the thing. So he might be simply tasting it. It's a minor offense. But the auditor above him, about two or three steps above him, he eats it. He uses these 2 words. Very, very interesting. So it was really, we were just enjoying it, how Arthaśāstra is using those things and the commentator is explaining. Very interesting, your article. Another person who was working on Arthaśāstra was telling me that with these 40 principles, you can identify even the 2G case, solve the 2G case. I do not know, you should tell us. So you may work on it and tell us how it is done. Thank you very much. I think Jinu has come. Did you see her PPT? Please follow that. You should, if you prepare a PPT like that, your paper will be very good. Okay? Right. R. Chitra, Assistant Professor, JBIS College for Women, well known as SCET College for Women. She is going to talk on trade and commerce in Arthaśāstra.
Arthaśāstra is the my topic is trade and commerce in Arthaśāstra. Arthaśāstra is the science which is the means of acquisition and protection of the earth. It has a 2-fold aim. First, it seeks to show how the ruler should protect his territory. Secondly, it shows how territory should be acquired. These 2 cover the whole range of state activity. Therefore, it is the science of statecraft or of politics and administration. The Kautilya's Arthaśāstra, as the name suggests, it is a treatise on statecraft and economics consisting of 15 adhikaranas. The first 5 sections, known as Tantra, focus on the internal administration of the state. The next 8 sections, called Avapa, address matters related to neighboring states, while the last 2 sections are miscellaneous in nature. In terms of trade and commerce, the Arthaśāstra provides a comprehensive overview of economic practices, regulations, and state involvement in economic matters. The Arthaśāstra emphasizes the role of the state in regulating trade and commerce. It suggests that the king or the ruler should ensure the smooth functioning of markets, prevent fraud, and curb adulteration of goods. Traders were required to follow certain ethical practices, and the state had a system for monitoring trade with officials appointed to oversee the markets. This ensured the accuracy of weights and measures and the quantity of goods being traded. All trade is to be controlled by the state. State goods are generally be sold by state employees. The Adhikarana 2 of chapter 16 talks about this. Though private traders may also be engaged for this purpose. In such cases, these traders are required to pay a Vaidharana fee, which serves a compensation for the profit the state would have earned about the goods being sold by its own servants. Additionally, it is noted that traders selling goods on commission are entitled to receive 1/10 of the value of the goods they sell, provided their commission is not fixed in advance. Karshakaha, Sasyanam Gopalakaha Sarpisham, this we can see in the third Adhikarana of chapter 13. This provision likely applies not to those selling state goods, but to agents working for private traders. The Arthaśāstra highlights two key officials responsible for overseeing state trade. One is the Panyadyaksha, Superintendent of Trade, and the other is Samstadyaksha, Superintendent of Markets. The role of Panyadyaksha, state trade is managed by Panyadaksha. He is responsible for setting the prices of various commodities, considering factors such as capital investment, interest charges, duties paid, rent, and other costs. The Panyadaksha must also stay well informed about the supply and demand for each commodities. In case of oversupply, where the price might otherwise fall, the state steps into the purchase the excess stock and sells it through state-run agencies at the fixed price. The Panyadaksha is also responsible for arranging the export of state goods to foreign lands. In planning such ventures, he must consider various factors including travel expenses, applicable duties, prevailing prices at different destinations, and so on. To assess in advance whether a profit can be made for the state. Additionally, he may explore the possibility of bartering state goods for foreign goods, referred to as Panya Pratipanya. So his duty is to utmost work towards the state's profit only. So he cannot act according to the individual traders or anybody. A profit of up to 5% is permitted on indigenous goods and 10% on foreign goods, with severe fines imposed for exceeding these limits. If a trader monopolizes a particular commodity and forces its price above the state fixed rate, a heavy fine on 1,000 panas is imposed. All these comes under Panyadaksha's regulations, and he has the full right to rule this. Role of Samstadyaksha, the Superintendent of Markets. Another official, the Samstadyaksha, is responsible for protecting the interest of customers. He ensures the traders and artisans do not deceive customers through fraudulent weighing, measuring, or by supplying goods of inferior quality or a different type. It is also his duty to verify that second-hand goods sold in the market, second-hand goods are Purana Bandha, are not stolen property. A balance must be maintained between the interest of the state, traders and customers, with the interest of the customers being considered paramount. So his role to act according to the customer's preference and his thing. Of course, both has to, Panyadaksha and Samstadaksha, both has to work together and decide the acts. Import and export of trade. State goods referred to as Rajapanya may be either Swabhumija or Parabhumija. The latter suggests that the state is also involved in the foreign trade. Parabhumija imported from foreign lands, and Swabhumija is that which is produced within the local. Indigenous goods owned by the state are to be sold in a single location, which clearly refers to the capital where all state stores are situated. The reason for concentrating the sale of state-owned indigenous goods in one place is to prevent competition with private traders dealing in the same goods. So, Swabhumijanam Rajapanyanam Ekamukam Vyavaharam Stapayet. On the other hand, foreign goods are to be sold at various centers based on the consideration that such goods might not otherwise be available in the more remote regions of the state. Parabhumijanam Aneka. In both cases, the selling price is to be determined with the interest of the customers in mind. It is emphasized that large profits should be avoided if they are detrimental to the welfare of the people. Ubayamcha prajanam anugrahena vikrapayet. The import and export duties. Custom duties on imported goods. The import of goods from foreign lands is to be encouraged in every possible way. All imported goods are subject to shulka, that is the custom duty, which are to be collected at the city gates. Each gate is to have a custom house staffed with 4 or 5 officers, all under the supervision of the Sulka Adhyaksha. They are known as the superintendent of customs. The terms used for import and export duties are Nishkramyam, Praveshyam cha Shulkam. Merchants who would primarily be traveling in caravans are required to first obtain an entry permit at a frontier post. At this post, their goods are stamped and sealed, and they must pay a road cess known as Vartani for safe passage. Tampering with seals, making false declarations about the goods, trying to bypass the custom house, and so on are punishable offence. Imported goods must be sold to local traders at the city gate at a price that has been declared in advance. If local traders compete for the goods and the price rises above the declared amount, the state is entitled to receive the excess in addition to the custom duty, in addition to the customs duties. This system ensures a fair deal for the foreign merchant who in any case must sell his goods to a local trader. At the same time, the foreign merchant is not allowed to profit beyond what he originally expected from the transaction. The selling price is determined after factoring in the higher price paid by the local trader. Duties within the country. Shulka refers not only to custom duties on imports and exports, but also to excise duties on domestically produced goods. It is categorized under 2 terms, Bhakya and Abhyantara. Excise duties are apparently to be collected at the gates when goods are taken out from the city to the country or brought from the country to the city for sale. The lists of dutiable articles include practically everything from flowers, vegetables, fruits, etc. On the other hand, to diamonds, pearls and other precious stones. Exemptions from duties. Certain commodities are exempt from duties. Goods needed for a marriage, sacrificial rites or other sacred ceremonies, as well as items intended as gifts, are not to be subject to any duty. It appears that the import of arms, jewels, grains and cattle is exempt from duties. As a general rule, goods that are highly beneficial to the state as well as seeds of rare kinds should also be allowed to entry duty free. Exemptions from duties may be granted to shippers and caravans bringing in foreign goods to help them make a profit. Similarly, foreign traders may be granted immunity from legal suits related to financial matters, except for those filed by their partners or assistants. Of course, I haven't gone much about this in the filing of suit and other things. Trade routes mentioned in Kautilya Arthaśāstra. In contrast to earlier teachers, Kautilya express a preference for land routes over water routes for trade. He argues that land routes are accessible in all seasons and involve fewer dangers which can be more easily mitigated. Kautilya also favors the southern trade route over the Himalayan route, considering it more profitable as the northern region was filled with more mountains and other things. He notes that the southern route brings in valuable commodities such as pearls, diamonds, conch shells and abundant gold. When goods are transported via waterways, they are required to pay duties and other charges at the ports. The state is responsible for maintaining a fleet of boats which may be rented out to traders and fishermen. All state-owned boats fall under the supervision of Navadhyaksha. He is a person who was in charge of the shipment and other duties over there. One of his primary duties is to provide ferries for river crossings, especially during the monsoon season. The text also sets a standard tariff for ferry services across rivers. When ferries operate on rivers that serves as boundaries between two states, custom duties, road access and convoy charges from foreign merchants are to be collected at the ferry wharf. Standardization of weights and measures. Weights and measures used in trade were to be manufactured by Pautavadyaksha, an official responsible for their standardization. This process was not privatized. Different types of weights, measures and weighing machines were employed based on their specific purpose. A variety of balances known as tula are described in the text. These are not the typical pairs of scales but rather steelyard type balances with the two unequal arms. One arm is marked with numbers from 0 to 100 indicating the weight in palas of the item suspended from the other arm. The text also specifies the prices at which these weights and measures were to be sold to traders. Different standards of weights and measures were intended for specific purposes as outlined in the Arthaśāstra in the second Adhikarana of chapter 19. Ayamana used for measuring goods received in the treasury. Vyavaharika, a lower standard used for trade transactions. Bhajana, a third even standard, lower standard used for measuring payments to be made from the treasury. Antapura Bhajana, the lowest standard of all, used for deliveries to the palace, known as the inner chambers of Antapura. Weights and measures are to be inspected every 4 months. An inspection fee was set at the rate of 1 kakani. 1 kakani is equal to 1/64th of a pana per day. This fee would total approximately 2 panas for the entire 4-month inspection period. Coins and currency used for trade. Coins were to be manufactured by Lakshanadhyaksha. He is the in charge, who is known as Lakshanadhyaksha, whose name refers to the Lakshana found on punch marked coins. 2 varieties of coins are identified here. One is silver coins, the other one is copper coins. Silver coins, 4 types of silver coins were to be minted with the following denominations: 1 pana, half pana, quarter pana and 1/8 of pana. Each coin contained 11 parts of silver, 4 parts of copper and 1 part of hardening alloy. Similarly, for the copper coins, 4 types of copper coins were to be minted. But 1 mashaka is equivalent to 1/16th of a pana, half mashaka, 1 kakani, 1 kakani is equal to quarter mashaka, and half kakani. These coins contain 3 parts of copper and 1 part of hardening alloy. 2 kinds of currency, pana yatra, were envisaged. The currency used for trade is vyavahariki, and the currency deposited in the royal treasury is known as Kosha Praveshya. The Rupa Darshaka, he is the inspector for all these coins and currencies, was responsible for overseeing the circulation of currency. This official was liable for punishment if they allowed an irregular currency to circulate or if they disrupted an established currency system. Large merchants or merchant guilds were permitted to mint their own coins with their marks stamped elsewhere outside the royal mint. Of course, if they violate the rule, they were being punished, they were being given punishment. Of course, I didn't find the amount of punishment or the level of punishment. Conclusion. Kautilya's Arthaśāstra portrays a sophisticated, well-rounded vision of trade and commerce as essential pillars of a strong and prosperous state. The strategies for regulation, infrastructure, taxation and diplomacy were all intended to create a thriving economy that could support the needs of the people while enhancing the power and stability of the state. This approach, marked by a combination of practical governance and strategic foresight, remains a timeless guide to the integration of economics into political strategy. This paper is an infant effort to bring out the trade policies laid down by Kautilya. It requires more efficiency in discussing about this session. It's a mine and which requires further research of excavation. Thank you for the opportunity.
Is the auditor has any comment to make? She is an auditor, by the way, the person who presented earlier paper. Yes, please come here. You didn't. So she has not noticed it. That would have been interesting if she had made some comments. Anybody else?
Does he talk about trade guilds also or only individual traders?
No, trade guild she said. Trade guild is sonnade. Trade guild is there.
So trade guilds have separate.
Yes, sir, there are.
Yes,
I didn't touch
there is.
those portions, sir. I didn't go for tax and other.
But she mentioned individual trader and trade guild. No idea.
No, they have mentioned it as custom duty only.
Custom duty. Shulka is custom duty always. Sungavari Tamil.
Tamil, sir.
Tamil அது சுங்கவரி அதோடைய சுல்கத்திலேருந்து வந்திருக்கலாம். Could be. No idea. Huh? Yes, colonization of it. Yeah.
See, as in the modern world, in the ancient world, they dealt with cartelization. Cartelization means some trade groups joining together. One particular country may not have a particular group, they may have to import it. But the people may join together and they impose a heavy duty on that or heavy fee on that, so that the country can be brought down to its knee, like that, as it happens in modern days. Such a cartelization also possible. And how to break this cartel, how to deal with this cartelization, how the country should get over, this problem also has been dealt with. In fact, Sambhuyakaritvam, some sort of a joint company, which is referred to as Sambhuyakari, these are also dealt with in the trade by Arthaśāstra. He deals with international external cartelization. Internal cartelization does not, everything is, the king is more powerful. In Arthaśāstra, king is a more powerful country. So internal cartelization, it can easily be dealt with. But it is external cartelization where we depend upon imports.
Even whatever it may be. Whatever it may be, it is area in the இருக்கு yeah
Just check whether Arthaśāstra is only theory or they are incorporated.
no it was practical, very practical. Arthaśāstra is very, very practical. Even then பார்க்கலாம் it was good. She had covered the entire section of trade and commerce, private traders to guild, traders guild, Panyadhyaksha, Samsadhyaksha, Sulkadhyaksha, and all those things have been given by her. Trade routes also she has explained. Exemption from duties, everything has been covered. Well done. But the PPT did not go with what you were explaining. For some of them, because we were able to read the Sanskrit text, that it was easy. Otherwise, it's a bit difficult. Please correct the PPT. Okay?
Sure.
Right. Very good. Well done. Lavanya Velayudham, research scholar, Sri Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kalady. She is going to talk about courtesans in ancient India, insights from Arthaśāstra. Good. Title itself is interesting. Let us see.
Good morning to all. My topic is courtesans in ancient India, insights from Arthaśāstra. Arthaśāstra book 2 chapter 27 Ganika Adhyaksha chapter deals with the duties and responsibilities of the superintendent of courtesans. Ganika Adhyaksha in Arthaśāstra. The superintendent of prostitutes known as the Ganika Adhyaksha was appointed by the king. His main duties included monitoring the conduct of the prostitutes, ensuring their regular payment of taxes to the state, managing the gifts they received, and keeping track of the number of paramours they entertained. Additionally, he was responsible for regulating their earnings, inheritance, daily expenditures, extravagant items, and future earnings. The king paid a monthly salary to the Ganika, but her earnings were collected by the state. Kaudilya looks at the state revenue from the economic perspective. He lists 3 sources of income under the category of fraud, prostitution, gambling, and liquor. During this Arthaśāstra, the word Ganika always refers to the courtesan of the highest degree among the public women. She is not an ordinary prostitute. The Ganigas were trained in the 64 arts at the state's expense. Ganika lived in a palace, had many servants, maids, male attendants, musicians, and at her services. Below, and Rubadasi, Rubajiva, Matrika, Pumscheli, Veshya, Devatasi, Bandagi, etc. are some of the terms applied to women who are treated as ordinary prostitutes. Classification of prostitutes. Chanakya classified the institution of prostitutes into 3 categories. Kanishta, the inferior, and Uttama, the higher, superior Ganigas, and Madhyama, middle. All 3 classes of prostitute under the control of the state. The institution has a whole yielded a huge amount of income to the state budget, and it is quite likely that employment on the part of women would have been solved. The Arthaśāstra provides an overview of the basic information regarding prostitute. The state ensured that they had access to essential commodities and guaranteed their safety. If a prostitute emigrated or died, her responsibilities would be assumed by her sister or daughter. If she was mature age, both of whom would qualify for the same pay and property. If neither was available, the prostitute's mother was required to hire another woman to take her place. Chanakya was strict enough to state that the absence of any eligible followers, the prostitute property would be given to the government, seized by the government. Chanakya ensured that aging prostitutes who could no longer service were not disrespected. Instead, they were appointed as matrikas, similar to Ganika Adhyaksha. It's unclear if only men were superintendents at the Institute of Prostitutes, and it's possible that women referred to as matrikas also held positions as deputy superintendents or superintendents. Freedom to the prostitutes was granted on a payment of 24,000 panas or ransom to the state. It is clear-cut that as she was a government servant, the state lost its income due to her withdrawal from the profession of a courtesan. Female slaves and prostitutes in the Mauryan Empire had various duties, including preparing scents, costumes for the king, which signified respect. They received training in arts and languages to become accomplished and detect criminals and spies. Kaudilya transformed Ganika from a free woman to the servant of the king. Here she remained respected. Influenced by the Devadasi tradition, he established institutions that enhanced the royal treasury and shifted views on women's freedom. Kaudilya believed that the wealth garnered by the Ganika sender would lead to a inactive lifestyle society, still disliked their job, limiting the independence that the ladies once enjoyed. People treasured freedom, but they esteemed those in bondage much less. The Ganika family needed to maintain their finely planned establishment to retain their wealth. Daughters of Ganikas were required to continue their field of works, but their boys were held as slaves. Kaudilya presents Ganikas as the king's property. He suggests punishments for a man who murders a Ganika. However, the punishment is most severe if the killed Ganika was in the king's service. His laws could not show that he sympathized with these prostitutes. He did not support violence against them, but he supported any expression of the violence. A Ganika was required to obey her customers' demands and could face harsh punishment for disobeying the king's directives. Kaudilya passed a regulation to protect Ganikas from deformity, mostly to protect the treasury. During the Mauryan period, Ganigas or prostitutes were subject to strict regulations. Violating these rules could result in fines such as 50 panas for mortgaging property. They were regarded as respected government servants and were prohibited from working if they were underage. Ganigas also had the right to refuse any paramours they deemed unfit. Additionally, regular medical checkups are mandatory for both Ganigas and their clients. And let's conclude. The Arthaśāstra reveals that courtesans known as Ganigas played a significant role in ancient Indian society. They were highly trained professionals attached to the royal court and army, overseen by a special official. Ganigas were classified into rank based on their beauty, accomplishments, performing important ceremonial roles. While having some financial independence, they were subject to strict state control and regulation. According to Arthaśāstra, Ganigas are the important part of the ancient Indian economy. Thank you all.
I congratulate you for taking up the subject.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Very serious subject which cannot be publicly discussed, but she has taken it and she has done justice to that, but she has given all the information that is there in the text. Apart from that, would you say she made a statement, prostitutes, they had what is the Adhyaksha name? Ganika Adhyaksha. Whether there were any women heads for that? Women heads for the section? We don't know. That's what she also said. It is not clear. Yes.
Her position was in no way, I mean, she is able to move publicly and her position was in no way bad. She is a very high, she is, Vasanta Sena is, and not only that, Amrapali, the actual, so there are instances, but about the Adhyakshas, etc., the female names we have not come across. Rarely they could have been there, but I don't think we have. But he speaks only in terms of general position and post. It is not a particular description of what is available. What is available, or it's not actually a chronicle of a particular administration. It is how the kings should administer, only in that sense.
Yeah. They were allowed to have properties. That's what she said. Yes, they can do that. Yes, they can do that. Yes. Enviable position of the Ganikas. Ganikas, okay. Thank you, ma. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.
Please prepare a PPT because all the Malayali accents are very difficult for us to follow. So prepare the PPT so it is easy for us. Varsha Gopi? Yeah, please. She is research scholar, Sree Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kalady. She is going to talk on marriage and property rights of women in Kautilya's Arthaśāstra.
Good morning all. My topic is marriage and property rights of women in Kautilya's Arthaśāstra. The Arthaśāstra is an ancient Indian text attributed to the scholar and statesman Kautilya, who was a key figure in the establishment of Maurya Empire under the Chandragupta Maurya. The work provides a comprehensive guide on politics, economics, military strategy, statecraft and governance. The martial structure, the time period was established by Kautilya, along with the social penalties for both men and women, such as dowry distribution, infidelity, incompatibility, etc. Kautilya attaches greater importance on the institution of marriage. He accepts 8 conventional forms of marriage. The first one is Brahma, where the father gives away a well-adorned daughter, that is Kanya Dhanam, Kanya Malankritya Brahmo Vivaha iti. Then Prajapatya, where sacred rituals are performed by man and woman without prior consent of the woman's father. Then Arsha, where the husband consolidates the marriage by presenting 2 cows to the father of the wife. And Deva, where the daughter is given away to the priest inside a sacrificial altar. And Gandharva, where lovers marry secretly. Then Asura, where the daughter is given away in exchange for bride price. Rakshasa, where a woman is abducted for forceful marriage. And Paishaja, where a woman is abducted while she is sleeping or intoxicated. Then Dharmya, which means legitimate and sacred, was the term used to describe the first 4 types of marriage, and the final 4 would attain legal and sacred status only with the agreement of the woman's father and mother. Dowry also has a guideline. Any dowry paid after receiving authorization from the daughter's father for marriage was to be given to the groom's parents. They were only entitled to 1 dowry. Therefore, if there was a second marriage, any dowry paid would go to the women. Women's property consists of either means of subsistence or jewels. Her source of income must be worth more than 2,000 panas in her name. There is no limit to jewelry. When her absent husband has not provided for her maintenance, the wife is not guilty of using this property to support herself, her son, or her daughter-in-law. The husband may also use this property in times of disaster, illness, and starvation, as well as in preventing treats and performing charitable defeat. There shall be no complaint against a couple enjoying this property by mutual consent after giving birth to a twin. There will be no complaint if this property has been enjoyed for 3 years by individuals who are married in accordance with the conditions of the first 4 types of marriage. The enjoyment of property by those married according to Gandharva and Asura marriage is subjected to restoration. In Rakshasa and Paishaja marriage, using this property is considered stealing. A lady who wishes to live a religious life after her husband passes away will immediately receive her endowment and jewelry, as well as the remaining shulka that is owed to her. She will be required to repay these 2 items together with interest based on their worth if she remarries after getting them. She will receive whatever her father-in-law, husband, or both gave her on the occasion of her marriage if she wishes to get married again. In relation to the topic of spouse extended absence, the time at which woman can be married again will be discussed. A widow will lose whatever she has been given by her father-in-law and her late husband if she marries a man other than the one chosen by her father-in-law. The kinsman of a woman shall return to her old father-in-law whatever property of her own she had taken with her while remarrying a kinsman. Whoever takes a woman under his protection in a just manner shall be bound to protect her property. No woman shall succeed in her attempt to establish her title to the property of her deceased husband after she remarries. If she lives a poor's life, he may enjoy the property of her late husband. No woman who has a son or son is free to use her own property that belongs to her son. In order to support her children from her previous husband, a remarried woman must take possession of the property in their name. If a woman has many male children by many husbands, then she shall conserve her property in the same condition as she had received from her husband. Even the property which has been given her with full power of enjoyment and disposal, a remarried woman shall endow in the name of her son. A childless widow who is faithful to her husband, living with the elder of the house, shall enjoy her property during her lifetime, since such endowments of property are meant to ward off calamities. After her death, it may pass on to the hand of her kinsman. If the woman dies while her husband is alive, then the property endowed to her may be divided among her sons and daughters. If she has no male children, it may go to her daughters. In their absence, the husband should receive it. In the absence of the husband too, the property given or gifted to her may be taken back by the relatives who have endowed it to her. This is the rule regarding the dowry. And let me conclude. In Kaudilya's Arthaśāstra, marriage and property rights are closely interviewed with social, economics and legal norms. Arthaśāstra is not solely a work on family law. It does touch upon various aspects of marriage, inheritance and property. The Arthaśāstra recognized dowry as a critical part of marriage. It outlines that a woman dowry which she brings into the marriage remains her property and she has the right to control and dispose of it. This was an early recognition of women's ownership over certain forms of property. In terms of Stridhana, the text also specifies that this property, once gift to the woman, cannot be taken away by her husband or in-laws. The woman retain ownership over her dowry. She can pass it on to her hire or dispose of it as she sees fit. In case of divorce or separation, the Arthaśāstra ensures that the woman's Stridhana is protected. If a marriage is dissolved, the woman is entitled to her dowry and personal property, reinforcing her economic independence to a certain degree. While women had right to their own property, Arthaśāstra reflects the broader patriarchal structure of the time. Women's property rights were often linked to their role in marriage and family. In Arthaśāstra, marriage is not only a social bond but also a financial and legal arrangement that impacts property rights. Thank you.
From your paper, I understand that there are two types of properties that she has. One is her Stridhana and the other is from her husband's side. Okay. Yeah. What is this Stridhana? Yeah, I'm having it.
Stridhana
is given by her family, by her own family. When she
their own family.
To be married, when she is married, she is given some property from her own family that she has full right to dispose or own or do anything, right? Which cannot be touched by the husband and his people, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good, right. This is completely a patrilineal society, rules and regulations. But at the same time, I don't know, you should tell me, do you have any restriction on the, see, the patrilineal property now is to be divided between all the children. What is the rule about Stridhana? Do you share?
It's a new revelation about the Arthaśāstra because the law which was applied in southern parts of India is the Yagyavakya Smriti. That is the law applied to the whoever's property is concerned. That Yagyavakya Smriti does not speak about the remarriage because she was saying about the remarriage. Pardon? Remarriage. But so far as we understood from the text of old Hindu law, there was no provision for remarriage. And as far as Yagyavakya Smriti is concerned, women are not given any right over the property, any absolute right over the property. Absolute right over the property. No, any property. Sridhana, there are Sridhana property is different and other properties. When the husband property, after the death of the husband, the property devolves upon the co-parceners and the sons, and not the wife will not get any property. She is only entitled maintenance. She knows that's not question of she has no right over the property. And later a concept was introduced known as limited estate, that she can hold the property and enjoy the property, and she has got the power to sell the property only for necessities, family necessities or her own necessities. Otherwise, she cannot sell the properties on her. That is a Yagyalkya Smriti, old Hindu law is concerned. But as far as Arthaśāstra law is concerned, it is similar to the modern law. So here a woman has got every right to dispose of all the properties she possesses. No, she, according what I understand is the woman has got every right to sell the property which is given to her.
Parents.
What of the property inherited by her from the husband? But that was the old law.
One division is Samamsa. Samamsa means all the children equally share it. And another one is the lion's share. That is called Uddhara. Uddhara is the eldest son taking a particular share, extra share. And then there are certain situations. These are given as different conditions. Not all of them are simultaneously applicable. In that different conditions, in one condition it states women also, that is mother is entitled to a share as equivalent to that of the sons. So mother is given a share. These are dealt with in the VEDΑብምΓΑS section, verses 124, 25, 26, 27 and all these things. There, absolute right owner. And then Mitakshara especially says, that is, there are different conditions when the movable property, immovable property, how the immovable property is to be divided, and if the immovable property, if there is an adverse possession by somebody, they have taken it over, and because of the weakness of these people, if they are not able to claim that, they can claim later on. That is, adverse possession cannot be in perpetuity. It can be, those things are dealt with there. There in different conditions. In one condition, that is the Samamsa division, women also are entitled to a share equivalent to, different conditions. They are not, sometimes we interpret all of them, we see together and then try to reconcile. But there are, if this were to be the property division, if this were to be the property division, like that, different conditions we can take. And then in one, daughters also, married daughters, what should be the share of a married daughter's son, what should be the share of unmarried daughter, and if the father were to die, if the daughter's responsibility of marriage were to be taken over by the brothers, what should be their equal shares? 1/4 they should spend from their share for her marriage, like that. In these 4 verses, those things are dealt with, and the share of the property to be given to ladies, especially in Mitakshara. There are, in fact, Vijnaneshwara has got one particular condition. If it can be translated, not exactly like that, law is for men and men are not for law. People are not for law. It should be, the law should be, Dharmasastra should be interpreted in consonance with, that is, as it is helpful to the people. Not people should be put into suffering. That he specifically says in these sections. This was, I am just going through recently, so I am able to say this.
Thank you, Ma. Very good. We had a nice discussion over that. Regarding the remarriage, we will talk separately later. The next paper. Yes. R. Rajalakshmi, PhD candidate from the Madras Science College. She is going to talk about Gandharvaveda Prabhavaha.
Prapancha srishtyunmukhalasya kayai Sahasta samharaka tandavaya Jagadjananyi jagadeka pitre Namah Shivaya cha Namah Shivaya. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Namasabhaye Sabhapatibhyascha. Nrityam Geetam cha Vadyam cha Drishyam Shravyam Manoharam Sangeetam Prochite Tagnehi Sangeetam Samavedajam Gandharva Janakam Chaiva Samaganam Shivapriyam Tatra Sama Mahavede गान्धर्वमुपवेदकम् इति सङ्ग्रहचूडामणिः नाम सङ्गीतशास्त्रलक्षणग्रन्थे उक्तमस्ति। तळिवन्मा च कथं साममहावेदे गान्धर्वमुपवेदकम् इति उक्तमस्ति। वेदोक्त ब्रह्मप्रतिपादनविषयं गान्धर्वविद्यामपि उक्तमस्ति। नादोपासनया मोक्षं साध्यते इति कारणात् गान्धर्वविद्यायाः उपवेदत्वं जातम् इति ज्ञायते। कथं गान्धर्वविद्या सामवेदस्य उपवेदत्वं प्राप्यते इति चेत् गान्धर्वविद्या सङ्गीतम् इत्युक्तमात्रेणैव स्वरः इति विशेषः अस्माकं मनसि भासते। उदात्त अनुदात्त स्वरितविषये पूर्वमेव एकया पत्रप्रदर्शिकया स्थापितम्। ऋग्वेदे यजुर्वेदे अथर्ववेदेषु प्रायशः नि सा रि इति त्रयः स्वराः भवन्ति। कदाचित् प इति पञ्चमः अपि भवति। यथा अस्य स्वरः भवति सा नि सा रि सा नि सा रि सा नि सा रि सा नि सा रि प नि सा इति कदाचित् पञ्चमः भवति। प्रायशः नि सा रि इति त्रयः भवन्ति। तथा सामवेदे तु ततः सामवेदः। अत्र सप्ताः स्वराः अपि भवन्ति। नि सा नि द नि सा रि गा रि सा मा गा रि सा नि द द नि सा नि द प म ग रि सा रि ग म प द नि सा इति अस्माकं सङ्गीतशास्त्रस्य इत्यत्र सप्ताः अपि स्वराः भवन्ति। अस्माकं सङ्गीतशास्त्रस्य विविधमाहात्म्यपूर्णविषयेषु अन्यतमविशेषः अस्ति गमक स्वराणाम् आन्दोलनक्रिया इति विशेषः। एतत् अत्र सामवेदगाने श्रोतुं शक्यते। नि सा रि गा रि रि सा नि द इति गमकप्रयोगः बहुधा भवन्ति। एते स्वराः 22तममेळरागस्य नेक्स्ट् स्लैड् 22तममेळरागस्य करहरप्रियायाः स्वराः भवन्ति। नेक्स्ट् अतएव प्राचीनसम्प्रदाये करहरप्रियारागे एव सरिगमपदनि इति अभ्यासः भवति किल। सरिगमपदनि स नि द प म ग रि स सरि सरि सरिगमपदनि स इति एते सर्वे अभ्यासाः करहरप्रियायामेव कृतम् इति उच्यते विद्वांसैः। तदनन्तरं सङ्गीतपितामहः पुरन्दरदासस्य कालादनन्तरमेव मायामाळव गौळरागे स्वरावळि जण्ट दाट् स्थायि अभ्यासादयः कृताः सन्ति। ततश्च सप्तस्वराः षड्जर्षभ गान्धार मध्यम पञ्चम दैवत निषादादयः परमेश्वरस्य पञ्चवक्त्रात् जायन्त इति नादब्रह्मश्री त्यागराजस्वामी स्वकृतौ उक्तवान्। यथा सद्यो जातादि पञ्चवक्त्रज सरिगमपदनि वरसप्तस्वर विद्यालोलं विदलितकालं विमलहृदय त्यागराजपालं नादतनुमनिशं शङ्करं नमामि मे मनसा शिरसा अत्र गान्धर्वविद्यायां मन्द्र मध्य उच्चस्थायी इति त्रिविधस्वरस्थानानि सन्ति, परन्तु वेदे प्रायशः स्वराणां मध्यस्थायी प्रयोगः कदाचित् मन्द्रस्थायी प्रयोगः एव भवति, उच्चस्थायी कदापि न भवति। सङ्गीते समानतया त्रिस्थायी प्रयोगः अवश्यं भवति, परन्तु अस्यां कृतौ नादतनुमनिषम् इत्यस्यां कृतौ सरिगमपदनी निरपमगरिसा इति मध्यस्थायी प्रयोगः एव भवति, मन्द्रस्थायी कदाचित् भवति, उच्चस्थायी कुत्रापि न दृश्यते। अयं चित्तरञ्जनी इति रागे कृतः। कस्य रागस्य स्वराः सामवेदे उपयुक्ताः तस्य करहरप्रियायाः जन्यरागः एव अयं चित्तरञ्जनी इति रागः। अत्र प्रथमशब्दः अस्ति नाद इति। सङ्गीतस्य मुख्यवस्तु अस्ति नादः। नादोपासनया मोक्षः साध्यते। बृहद्देशी नाम ग्रन्थे मतङ्गेन उक्तं यत् न नादेन विना गीतं, न नादेन विना स्वराः, न नादेन विना नृत्यं, तस्मात् नादात्मकं जगत्। नादरूपः स्मृतः ब्रह्मा, नादरूपो जनार्दनः, नादरूपा पराशक्तिः, नादरूपो महेश्वरः इति। सङ्गीततत्त्वज्ञाः वाग्गेयकाराः विद्वांसः बहवः सन्त्यपि नादब्रह्म श्री त्यागराजस्वामिः, नादज्योतिः श्री मुत्तुस्वामी दीक्षितः, श्यामशास्त्री एते त्रयः महान्तः एव सङ्गीतत्रिमूर्तयः इति आहूयन्ते। कारणं नादोपासनया मोक्षं साध्यते इति प्रत्यक्षरूपेण स्वजीवनद्वारा प्रदर्शितवन्तः एते। मोक्षमार्गः इत्युक्ते आदिशङ्करः कथयति, सारूप्यं तव पूजने शिवमहादेवेति संकीर्तने, सामीप्यं शिवभक्तिधुर्यजनता साङ्गत्य सम्भाषणे, सालोक्यं च चराचरात्मक तनुध्याने भवानीपते, सायुज्यं मम सिद्धमत्र भवति, स्वामिन् कृतार्थोऽस्म्यहम् इति श्लोके अस्मिन् शिवसायुज्यमार्गः प्रकटितः। एतादृशरीत्या नादोपासनया अपि मोक्षं कथं प्राप्यते इति वर्णयितुं शक्यते। यथा सारूप्यम् इति सङ्गीते अध्ययनं गुरुमुखात्, ततः अभ्यासः एते भवन्ति। सङ्गीते सामीप्यं विद्वज्जनैः सह मिलित्वा श्रवणं, सङ्गीतमर्म अवगमनं, ततः स्वर राग ताळादि तत्त्व अवगमनम् एते। सङ्गीते सालोक्यं कथं भवति चेत् सर्वत्र सर्वदा सर्वविषयेषु सङ्गीतरसास्वादनं कर्तुं शक्यते। नादानुभूतिः एवमेव शनैः प्राप्यते। तादृशसङ्गीतं मनश्शान्तिं प्रयच्छति। सायुज्यं सङ्गीते इति श्रुति ताल राग स्वरादि विषयान् अतिरिच्य निर्गुणब्रह्मस्वरूपम् अवगम्यते। तत्र नादोपासनया नादब्रह्मसाक्षात्कारः सिद्ध्यते। तत्र नादः एव सर्वत्र व्याप्तः भवति इति। तत्र स्यात् उक्तं च सङ्गीतरत्नाकरे, तत्र स्यात् सगुणध्यानात् भुक्तिः मुक्तिस्तु निर्गुणात्, ध्यानमेकाग्रचित्तैकसाध्यं न सुकरं नृणाम्। तस्मात् सुखोपायः श्रीमन् नादम् अनाहतं गुरूपदिष्टमार्गेण मुनयः समुपासते, सोऽपि रक्तिविहीनत्वात् न मनोरञ्जकं भवति नृणां। तस्मात् आहतनादस्य श्रुत्यादिद्वारतोऽखिलं ज्ञेय वितन्वतो लोकरञ्जनं भवभञ्जनम् उत्पत्तिम् अभिधामस्याम्, अतः श्रुत्यादि हेतुताम् इति उक्तम्। सुलभमार्गः मोक्षस्य नादोपासना एव इति उक्तम्। अस्माकं भारतदेशे भगवदाराधनार्थं विविधमार्गाः सन्ति, परन्तु सुलभमार्गः सङ्गीतद्वारा भक्तिः। यथा उत्तरभारते मराठी अभङ्गद्वारा सन्ताः विविधधर्मोपदेशान् बोधयन्ति, ततः ईश्वरं च प्राप्ताः आसन्। आन्ध्रप्रदेशे अन्नमाचार्याः, भद्राचलरामदासः, कर्णाटके पुरन्दरदासादयः, अस्माकं द्रविडप्रदेशे तेवारत्रिमूर्तयः इति एते महान्तः सर्वे स्वसङ्गीतसहितभक्त्या ईश्वरं प्राप्तवन्तः आसन्। सर्वे नाम जपादीन् कर्तुं दुर्लभः अस्ति। जपतपादीन् कर्तुं नियमाः बहुत्र सन्ति, पालितुं च परिश्रमः आवश्यकं भवति। परन्तु नाम सम्यक् कीर्तनं कर्तुं, नाम संकीर्तनं कर्तुं कोऽपि कुत्रापि कदापि साध्यते। सामान्यतया भक्तः कथयति, हे भगवान् अहं तव दासोऽहम् इति, परन्तु अस्य विषये कोऽपि संशयः नास्ति। परन्तु सुन्दरमूर्ति तेवारं श्रुत्वा साक्षात् महेश्वरः परमेश्वरः, हे सुन्दरमूर्ति तव सङ्गीतस्य दासोऽहम् इति उक्तवान्। अत्र भगवान् भक्तानां सङ्गीतस्य भक्तः स्वयं भवति. भगवान् भक्तः भक्तानां सङ्गीतस्य भक्तः भवति. महाविष्णुः अपि कथयति नाहं वसामि वैकुण्ठे न योगी हृदयरवो मद्भक्ताः यत्र गायन्ति तत्र तिष्ठामि नारद इति. तादृश माहात्म्ययुक्तविद्या गान्धर्वविद्या चित्तद्रावकम् अस्ति. सङ्गीतरत्नाकरे अपि उक्तं गीते प्रीयते देव सर्वज्ञ पार्वतीपतिः गोपीपतिरनन्तोऽपि वंशध्वनिवशङ्गतः सामगीतिरतो ब्रह्मा वीणासक्ता सरस्वती तस्य गीतस्य माहात्म्यं के प्रशसितुमीशते. धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाणाम् इदम् एक एव साधनम् इति इत्युक्त्वा विरमामि. धन्यवादः.
Good paper. Well done. I have one question. How did the 7 swaras come from 5 faces?
சைவ சித்தாந்த சம்பிரதாயத்தில் சொல்றது ஒரு வழக்கம் உண்டு. அதை கேட்க கேட்க கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக அதில் இன்வால்வ் ஆக நம்மள எல்லாருக்கும் ரசிகாலுக்கும் கிடைக்குங்கிறது தான் பாயிண்ட். தேங்க்யூ. அதாவது ஈசான தத்புருஷ அகோர வாமதேவ சத்யோஜாத்த இந்த பஞ்சமுகம் வந்து சைவ சித்தாந்த சம்பிரதாய பிரகாரம் ஈசானத்துக்கும் சத்யோஜாத்தத்துக்கும் 2 ஸ்வரம், பாக்கி இருக்கிற மற்ற முகங்களுக்கு 5 ஸ்வரம் சொல்லி 7 ஸ்வரம் மொத்தமாக வருது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பெரியவா சொல்லியிருக்கா. ஏஎஸ் பஞ்சாபகேஷையர் அவருடைய சங்கீத சாஸ்திர பிரதர்ஷினி அப்படிங்கிற புக்கில் வந்து இதை பற்றி அவர் சொல்லியிருக்கார்.
Any other question?
அஸ்தி அஸ்தி தமிழே சொல்கிறேன். புரந்தரதாசர் அவர் தான் நம்மளுக்கு மல்லாரிங்கிற கீதம் கொடுத்துருக்கார். 4 கீதம் கொடுத்துருக்கார். ஸ்ரீகணநாத, குந்தகௌர, கெரிய நீரனு, பதுமநாபா. அது எல்லாமே வந்து இப்போ கரஹரிப்பிரியா எடுத்தோன்னா கமகம்ங்கிறத பற்றி சொல்லியிருந்தேன். கமகம்னு பார்த்தோம்னா சரி க மா பதனி இப்படி பண்ணால் தான் அது கரஹரிப்பிரியா, இல்லைன்னா அது கரஹரிப்பிரியா கிடையாது. ஆனால் எடுத்த உடனே ஒரு அபியாச காலுக்கு அந்த கரஹரிப்பிரியா கமகத்தோடு வரது சிரமம்ங்கிறதுனால புரந்தரதாசர் தான் இந்த மல்லாரி கீதத்தை கொடுக்கறச்சேவே மாயாமோலோகோலையில் சாரி கமா பதனி அப்படி சுத்தமாக கமகம் இல்லாமல் இருக்கணும்னு சொல்லி ஃப்ரேம் பண்ணிட்டு அவர் ஃபஸ்ட்டு சரளி வரிசை, ஜண்ட வரிசைனா இது மொத்தம் 9, சரளி வரிசை 14, அடுத்து தாட்டு வரிசை, மேல் ஸ்தாயி, கீழ் ஸ்தாயி, அலங்காரம்னுங்கிறது கரெக்டாக ஃப்ரேம் பண்ணிட்டு, அலங்காரம்னு பார்த்தோம்னா 35 தாளம் இருக்குதுல. ஆனாலும் இந்த 7 தாளம்னு சூலாதி சப்த தாளங்கள்னு அதை நம்ம எடுத்து கொடுத்துருக்கோம். அதை எடுத்துன்ட்டு அதுக்கப்புறமா உடனே நம்ம பார்த்தோம்னா மல்லாரி கீதம் தான் முதல்ல கற்றுப்போம். மலஹரி ராகத்தில் இருந்து இருக்கிற 4 கீதம் தான். இதுவும் மாயாமாலோகோலையோட ஜன்யங்கள் தான் இந்த மலஹரிங்கிற ராகமும். ஸோ அப்படி சுலபமாக இருக்கணும், கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக அந்த கமகம்ங்கிற கான்செப்டை வந்து இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணணும்னுங்கிறதுனால புரந்தரதாசர் ஃப்ரேம் பண்ணது தான் இந்த மாயாமாலோகோலைன்னு குருவெல்லாம் சொல்லியிருக்கா. அந்த மாதிரி இல்லை, அந்த மாதிரி நியமம் கிடையாதுங்கிறதுனால இப்படி வச்சிருக்கா. ஆனா கரஹரிப்பிரியா கமகம் இல்லாம வந்து சோபிக்காது, அதோடைய ராக ஸ்வரூபம் புரிஞ்சுக்க முடியாது.
பாலாபியாசத்துக்கு கமகம்
வேண்டாங்கிறதுக்கு தான் அப்படி பண்றா. அத கரஹரிப்பிரியால நம்ம கமகத்தை இல்லாம பண்ணிட்டோம்னா அதோடைய நாளைக்கு வந்து அவ ஒரு சக்கனி ராஜ கத்துக்கும் போதோ பண்ணக்கூடாதுங்கிற நியமம் இல்லை, கமகத்தோட தான் செய்யணும்னுங்கிறதும் இல்லை. ஆனா சுலபம் எது முதல்ல அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு இந்த மாயாமாலோகோலையை புரந்தரதாசர் ஃப்ரேம் பண்ணிருக்கார்.
தேங்க்யூ வெரி மச்.
தேங்க்யூ.
வெரி குட். Next person is Sugantha, Assistant Professor SGNB Vaishnav College, Krompet. She is going to talk on Siege of the Fort according to Arthaśāstra. Port. Yes.
Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Introduction to Arthaśāstra. The term Arthaśāstra is generally understood to be devoted to politics or economics, but really it is the Shastra or science that deals with Artha or material prosperity. Arthaśāstra is considered as the Upaveda of Atharvaveda. Vedic seers such as Brihaspati, Ushanas, Vishalaksha, Bharadwaja, Parashara, etc. are considered as the founders of Arthaśāstra. Although no text directly written by them has survived, their names are mentioned in the works of later authors like Yajnavalkya, Manu and Kautilya, etc. So already the Jinu Reachel Bhagini explained about the fortification, so I am skipping that part. I am only giving the examples of the fortification alone. In ancient texts such as Ramayana, Mahabharata and Manusmriti reflect this classification, which is already said by Reachel Bhagini. With both Kautilya and this text regarding Giridurga and Jaladurga are particularly defensible. In the Valmiki Ramayana, yes, stop this. Okay, this one, wait. In the Valmiki Ramayana, Ravana's Lanka is described in the almost impenetrable fortress with multiple layers of defense. These fortifications align with Kautilya's strategic principles, which are evident in the following slokas from the 3rd chapter of the Yuddha Kanda, where Hanuman described the fortification of Lanka. Although all the 33 slokas in the Sarga explain detailedly about the fortification, I have given few examples. 4 layers of defense. Lankapuri Niralamba, Devadurga Bhayavaha, Nadeyam Parvatam Manyam, Kritrimam Cha Chaturvidham. Lanka is a fortified city resembling as a celestial fortress, surrounded by 4-fold defenses: water, mountain, forest and artificial fortification. Use of strong gates and traps. Drishabadda Kavatani Mahapari Ghavanticha, Dwarani Vipulani, Asyas Chatwari Sumahanticha. The gates of Lanka are strong with massive locks and beams, and there are 4 large gates guarding the city. Then sage engines. Dwareshu tasam chatvaraha sangamaha paramayataha yantraihi upeta bhahubihi mahadbihi dridasandhibihi. Anterior to the gateways, there are 4 very extensive drawbridges equipped with numerous engines and furnished with many rows of buildings built on the rampart and meant for those entrusted with the duty of guarding the entrances. The well-defended citadel. Shailagre Rachita Durga Sa Purdeva Paropama Vajivarana Sampurna Lanka Paramadurjaya. The city of Lanka resembles the city of gods, is built on the mountain peak and is inaccessible. That Lanka is abound with horses and elephants and is extremely difficult to conquer. Ancient sage defenses. Parighascha Sadagnyascha Entrani Vividhanicha Shobhayanti Purim Lanka Ravanasya Duratmanaha. The walls staked with stones were protected with catapults. Various guarding the walls held pots with poisonous snakes and different flammable powders. They were also armed with clubs, torches, arrows, spears, swords and axes, as well as the sadagnis and heavy wax-coated masses. Then come to the Kautilya sagecraft. Kautilya's Arthaśāstra explains sagecraft as a careful and well-planned approach to capturing an enemy fort. Instead of just using force, Kautilya focuses on detailed planning, psychological tactics, and controlling resources. His strategy includes finding the fort's weak points, cutting off supplies, using spies to lower the enemy's morale, and applying pressure slowly to avoid major losses. Kautilya also suggests using sage weapons, building protective moats, and making sure that there are enough supplies for a long battle if necessary. His method focuses on using intelligence and strategy rather than brute force, aiming at victory with minimal damage, which reflects his overall philosophy of thoughtful and efficient governance. Use of secret agents. Kings light sage to forts to gain strategic, economic and psychological advantages, which help in expanding their power and consolidating their control over larger territories. Kautilya says, a country without people makes no sense, and there can be no kingdom without a country. Kautilya's strategy aimed to weakening the fort by attacking key storage and living areas, thereby reducing the fort strength and lowering the defense confidence. This aligns with his use of psychological warfare and intelligence gathering as seen in the following examples. In the Valmiki Ramayana, prior to the sage, Rama sends an emissary Angada to negotiate with Ravana, offering peace in exchange for Sita release, thus using psychological pressure before force, similar to Kautilya's recommendation of psychological tactics. In Bharavi's Kirata Junium, a spy of the exiled king Yudhishthira arrives and informs him to the Kauravas' strength and weakness. In Mudra Rakshasa, spies play a key role as Chanakya uses them to disrupt the enemy's plans and weaken the Nanda dynasty, helping Chandragupta Maurya rise to power. In fact, spies are active in almost every part of the play, serving an important purpose in driving the plot forward. Fire attacks in warfare. He further elaborates on the tactics of creating internal conflicts within the enemy fortification throughout the use of the secret agents. Secret agents serving as God inside the fort should place the fire mixture in the tails of monkeys, cats and dogs and let them loose in stores of reeds, fortification and houses. In the Valmiki Ramayana, a similar tactics is shown through Hanuman's action in Lanka. Hanuman, acting like a one-man army, plays a role similar to Kautilya's agents. After causing several disruptions, he set his tail on fire and moves around Lanka, setting important buildings and defense areas on fire. Hanuman, described as a burning figure jumping from place to place, creates chaos and fear, much like the psychological impact Kautilya aimed to cause with fire tactics. Sage tactics and the power of elephants. In the Arthaśāstra, while describing various devices by which an enemy fort could be captured, Kautilya remarks that the besieging king may assail the rampart and parapets by making use of underground tunnels and iron rods and breach by means of the elephant armor. An army without elephant has been compared to a forest without an lion. Probably the first use of elephants in war dated back to India only. They are mentioned in the great epics in India, Ramayana and Mahabharata. These huge beasts were the backbone of the Indian army, often heavily armed from top to bottom. In ancient warfare, elephants were highly trained for battle to prevent them from going out of control and harming their own forces. They were equipped with tusk swords. Sometimes they were poisoned to make their strikes more dangerous. Elephants were also trained to swing or throw heavy iron balls attached to the trunks, adding to their destructive power. Before battle, elephants were sometimes given intoxicants to make them more aggressive and fearless while remaining easier to control. During sieges, elephants played a crucial role in breaking down fortified walls and doors, forcing changes in fortification to withstand their power. Kautilya's strategy in historical warfare. Mauryan Empire, 322 to 185 BCE, Ashoka conquers the Kalinga. Ashoka used sage tactics possibly influenced by the Arthaśāstra to capture cities like Dhauli. Gupta Empire, 320 to 550 CE, Samudragupta's champions conquered fortified cities with advanced sage strategies through specific sage weapons are not mentioned. Chola Empire, 300 BCE to 1279 CE. Rajendra Chola, first champion, used sage tactics similar to the Arthaśāstra to capture fortified cities. Rajput kingdoms, 8th to 12th century CE. Prithviraj Chauhan, wise Muhammad Ghori, 1192 CE. Ghori used sage engine like battering rams to break through Rajput defenses. Delhi Sultanate, 1206 to 1526 CE. Alauddin Khalid, sage of Chittor, used sage engines, blockades and direct attacks to capture the fort. Mughal Empire, 1526 to 1857 CE. Akbar, sage of Chittor. Akbar used sage engines and cannon fire, continues the earlier sage tactics. Conclusion. The Arthaśāstra offers timeless idea of defense. Kautilya's focusing on strength fort walls, smart tactics, and using natural surroundings for protection highlights the need of careful planning. Just as force protected against invasions in ancient times, today's military can use similar strategies by taking advantage of landscapes, reinforcing key area, and planning of long-term supplies. Kautilya's focus on intelligence and psychological tactics also applies today. Modern defense relies on technology and careful planning to protect borders. By blending ancient strategies with modern tools, nations can build stronger defenses and protect their people. Thank you.
A good presentation of the Arthaśāstra textual information. This reminds us about Sivakami in Sabdam. Have you read? Have you any? In that, Chalukya is sieging the fort of Kanchi. You know, they make the elephants drink and then hit the fort. So that's one reference which is recorded by Kalki in his novel. And another one is that, which she has missed actually, when she has talked about cats and animals within the campus. But the enemy sends birds with the petroleum effect, petroleum bomb attached to their foot, which they will drop inside the city, captivated city. So people will have to come out and they have to open the gates and come out, then these people will capture them. That's one idea that she has missed out. That's a very interesting thing. For petroleum bomb, he gives you the content of the bomb. That is not exactly petroleum. It is something that inflammable substance are there. They can immediately do that. So they are very interesting. Thank you very much. Go for the next paper. We are short of time. Srinivasan, Mr. Srinivasan. V.R. Srinivasan, research scholar KSRI. Since you are a research scholar of KSRI, I request you to minimize your time. Spying in Arthaśāstra.
This is the first manual. And there are books like Silapadikaram and Manimegala in Tamil also, which deal with the political economy. The basic idea of Arthaśāstra is that this Shastra is a subordinate of Dharma. Dharma is the prime one and all other things follow it. And for maintaining the state, the king needs spies. As Napoleon said, a spy in the right place is worth 20,000 soldiers in the battlefield. My throat is not okay, kindly excuse me. And these kings are known as Chara Chaksha, and they see through the eyes of the spies. And even in Tirukural it is said, Otrum Uraisandra Nulum Ivayirandum Tetranga Mannavan Kan. Both are the eyes of the king. And Nityavakyamrutam says, Gavaha Pashyanti Gandhena Vedaihi Pashyanti Panditaha Charaihi Pashyanti Rajanaha Chakshubhyam Itaro Janaha. How we people see and the way in which the Panditas see and how the cows see and how the Raja sees are different, and they have separate organs for it. Though the physical eye may be there, that is not the only way to see, and these people are able to use other things for seeing, actually knowing the facts. Next. The spies, what for the spies are needed? Next. There are there are n number of spies as told in the Arthaśāstra. There are 9 prominent clauses and more than 100 subclauses, but the major are Samstha and Sanchara. And in Samstha, typographical error. Samstha, it is Kapatika, Udastitha, Grahapatika, Vaidehaka and Tapasa. In Sanchara we have the Shatri, Tikshna, Rasada and Bhikshuki. Samstha is always stationary, they don't go about anywhere. they sit at one place, but still they are able to know the facts and figures. And they are responsible for maintaining the law and order, and they help the king in maintaining the law and order. Kapatikaha is a fraudulent disciple, but he ascertains the purity of each person, and he is able to report to the king and as well as the council of ministers, mantra. These people are equipped with money, and they are sannyasins, and they get the work done, and as such they may not do it, but they get the work done by others, and whatever is needed, they extract the work from the others. Grihapatika are mere householders or cultivators, and they also maintain sub-spices also. Vaidehakas are merchants who do, during trading business, they collect enough data to be given to the king. And tapasas are, from the name itself we can know, they are monks, they mingle with the subjects, and they are primarily responsible for creating a public opinion, and they are also propaganda agents. Could be. And Sastri, this wonderful type of spy, he must, Kautilya says, he must have all this knowledge. Only then he can be a spy. Science of interpretation known as Lakshana Vidya, science of touch, Anga Vidya, science of magic, Jambuka Vidya, and science of illusions, Maya Vidya, science of omens, Nimitta Vidya, and finally he must know how to mingle with the people, association with the his brothers and sisters, that is the Samsarga Vidya. Why this Sastri is appointed to, these not only test the subjects of the kingdom, he is appointed to test the ministers who are appointed. For these Sastris prepare some 4 tests for the ministers: test of piety, and that is, and test of material gain, whether this fellow is interested in the money or not, and how far his lust is, what level, and whether he is really fearful or he is courage. And Tikshna are the people who don't dare, they dare for anything, they don't care for anything, and they are fighters, and they are selfless also. Next. Rasada are the people. The Rasada means the one who is a poison giver. Why is he a poison giver? Only a person who has no affection at all can give a poison. Tamil Bhasha vadanti Kalipal uti savadicha. Here also, these people, they even go to the extent that when there need be, they can even give the poison and make the person die. And Bhikshuki are wandering nuns. Some may be beggars, some may be widows, and they are known as Parivrajikas. And what for the purpose of the spies, what for they are being kept in the kingdom is that, and finally gaining in the war. Valluvar says, Vinay Seva Tamsutram Vendadar Endangu Anaivarayum Araivadu Otru. No one person is spared, everybody is being spied. And the idea behind this is the king should maintain such a secrecy that one spy should not know the work of the other spy. Na cha anyonyam samstaha teva vidyuhu. They should not, this man should not know the work of the other person, the other spy should not know the whatever information this fellow has got. So some secrecy is to be maintained. He should see to that it is done. And in case of emergency, what will happen? Like இந்த கழுத்தில் ஏதோ கட்டின்னு குடிச்சு போடுறாள் அந்த மாதிரி to pretend having long illness, to be mad and cyanide, and then to set on fire the place of work, and finally to consume poison so that everything is lost. And in the Ramayana, Vibhishana gets hold of Shukasharana, and Rama says, na dutau vadamarhataha. The duta should not be killed at all, so let them go. Hanuman, when he wanted to jump to Lanka, before jumping, he took such a big, he developed himself into such a big one, and he was able to go up to the Charana Charite Pathi, where the Charanas go. To that extent he was able to go. Next. And this is the most important one. Bharata, when he comes to meet Rama, Rama enquires him, Tribis avijñātaihi vetsitītāni charakaihi irukku, charakaihi. Atra inga ennaaka this Rama is asking Bharata, are you able to do tribihi, that one spy is to be spied by another spy, and that person is to be spied by the third spy. So 3 times spies will be there, and the king collects reports from all the 3 and finds the truth of it. For this, a big charaha or spy need not be employed. It is enough if he is able to spy this man alone. So that's why what Valmiki has put here is charakaihi alparte kap iti sutram. Tasmat charaha iti na uktavan. It is not said. It is said that charakaihi. And the way in which this spy or the duta or the messenger, when he comes back and reports, it is very important. And that's why after seeing Sita, when Hanuman came, he said, Drishta Maya Sita. So I saw Sita. The same is told by Kamban also, Kandanan Karpinu Kanigai. Next. And for Bharata, when he goes from Anjaneya goes to inform Bharata about Rama's coming, he said Ayyan Vandanan. So he used the name of the Rama first, so that Bharata's attention is grabbed. The spy should never deceive the king is the basic policy. And Mahabharata says the king without a spy is nothing. Thank you. In a short way, I am able to find out the meaning of the espionage in the Arthaśāstra in connection with the literature world. I thank Vasu sir very much for giving this topic to me, especially. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you very much for keeping to the time. We are in a hurry now. My comment is that only that he has not talked about double agents. There were double agents. And then the important thing is that the double agent's family was kept by the kept under the control of the king. They were never let out because he had to do the அதுக்கு வந்து என்ன வேதனை சொல்ற உபயவேதனை ரெண்டு இடத்துல சம்பளம் வாங்குறோம் உபயவேதனை. That's very interesting. Thank you very much.
போட முடியல but
you have done it. Okay, very good.
It is
very
in
good.
the paper.
Very good.
If
you read actually the text of Kautilya on this, when you go out, you will feel there are people coming at the back of you. Somebody may be watching you. You'll be afraid of the entire scenario. That's the figure that he gives when he talks about spies. Thank you very much. The next person. Mrs. Ramya Bhatt, Assistant Professor Guru Nanak College, Chennai. She is going to talk about Gandharvaveda in Vayu Purana. Cut the initial portions. Ramya? Introduction, Vanda. Go straight.
Namaste to all. My paper is Gandharvaveda in Vayu Purana. Though I am not a professional singer or musical field, I have tried to, out of my own interest, to present this paper. So if any doubts or anything, we have double doubts, please I will check and let you know. Yes, please ask Rajalakshmi ma'am, who earlier presented the paper. She is a professional vocalist, Carnatic musician. Yes. Yes, sir. My topic reads Gandharvaveda in Vayu Purana. Vayu Purana, there is one chapter, 86, gives the aspects of music. It calls science of music as Gandharva. Gandharva we say, but it calls Gandharva. It gives the definition of Murchana. It begins with a story, a small story of Reva's son, grandson of Saryati, son of Vaivasvata Manu, and son of Anartha, the king of town Anartha, whose capital was Kushasthali, Dwaraka, as per Brahmanda Purana. Vaivasvata Vaishpaichaya. Reference is given here. Raivata is the king of, Raivata is the son of the king, Reva ruled Kushasthali. Once Raivata heard the Gandharva, which is the musical performance of Devas along with his daughter, in a state of being close to Brahma for a duration of Muhurta, that is period calculated in yugas of mortals. He returned back and re-established his own capital by the name Dwaravati, which is occupied by Yadavas. Raivata, the restrainer of enemies, gave away his daughter named Revati to Baladeva in marriage and engrossed himself in a peace. Having heard this tale of Reva, Raivata and Revati, the sages put questions to the Sutta as how music made Raivata to consider a long period only as a Muhurta. For this question, Sutta says, Brahmaloka is the abode of Brahma. If once reached, one does not feel hunger, thirst, death, fear, develop disease, and so on. Here, the Gandharva is the ancient class of music. As precedes the time of Arthaśāstra, it is also referred as Marga or Margi. It is said that Lord Shiva himself has taught this Marga music on his Veena in his Dakshinamurti form to the sages sitting around him. The early Marga songs were in praise of Shiva called Shivastuti. These Marga songs were sung before the commencement of the play during the early Arthaśāstra period, which is considered sacred, having niyata. It is said in Arthaśāstra that Atyartam Ishtam Devanam Tata Preetikaram Puna Gandharvanamscha Yasmad Di Tasmat Gandharvam Uchyate. This Gandharva song was devoted to please only the gods, Atyartam Ishtam Devanam, which is not flexible because of its divinity and regulations. Later, Desi was the art music that set out to hold a charming appeal to the human beings emerged. Desi is Hridaya Ranjaka, delights the hearts of common folks, desha to desha or region to region. When it comes to swaras, Vayu Purana says that there are 7 swaras in music clearly. These swaras are otherwise called as notes. In music, generally a scale of 7 notes stating on a particular note is called grama. Gramaha swara samuhaha syat. The modes of gradual ascent and descent are called as murchanas or tanas or sthanas. Murchana refers to modulation or melodies. Apte refers as it as sound, rising of sounds, and intonation, fall of rise and fall of sounds, conducting the air and harmony through the keys in a pleasing manner, changing the keys or passing from one to another modulation. Here, 7 swaras, 3 gramas, 21 murchanas, 49 talas constitute musical notes. This is the definition given in Vayu Purana. Sapta swarastrayo grama murchanastu eka vimshatihi talascha ekona panchat iti etat swara mandalam. 3 gramas may be Maudra Madhyama and Tara. That is, Tara means low, medium or high it may be. There are 7 swaras called Shajja, Rishbha, Gandhara, Madhyama, Panchama, Daivata, Nishada. As per Vayu Purana, this has been defined. Sangeeta Ratnakara of Shangadeva details these swaras into 8 sessions. And other musicians have also given a detailed account of these swaras in their works. Murchana of Madhyama Grama, this has been detailed. The names are given in the Vayu Purana. The Murchana of mass scale, Madhyama Gramika are known as Sauveri of the Madhyama Gramika, Harinasya, Kalopa, Bhalopeta, the fourth Shuddha Madhyama, Shangi, Pavani, Drishtaka in the serial order. This way, the Murcha of Madhyama Grama are named, not detailed. Murchana of Shadja Grama. Murchana of Shadja Grama consists of Uttara Mandra, Janani, Uttarayata, Suddha Shadja. Murchana of Gandhara Gramika. The Swara Sthana is called Tana. The names of Tanas are as follows. The first one of the series is Agnishtomika. The second is Vajapayika. The third one is spoken as Poundarak. The fourth is Ashwamedika. The fifth is Rajasuya. The sixth is Chandra Suvarnaka. The seventh is Gochava by name. The eighth is Mahavrishtika. Brahmadhana in the ninth. Prajapatya is the 10th. And the 11th one is Naga Pakshareya. Gotara, Hayakranta, Margranta, the charming Vishnukranta, the most excellent Suryakranta, Mattakokila Vadin, Savitra, Arthasavitra, Sarvabhadra, Suvarna, Sutantra, Vishnu, Vaishnuvara, Sagara, Vijaya. The fascinating of all the names have been given as Murchana of Gandhara Gramika. The Tanas Hamsa and Jeshta, familiar as Tumburu, the pleasing, Adatraya followed by Gandharvas desired by Alambusha and dear to Narada. The Tana called Kalopanita or Vinita, Sree, Bhargava Priya, Abhiramya, Shukra and Punyaraha. The Madhyama Grama consists of 20 Tanas, while 14 Tanas constitute the Shadja Grama. There are 15 Tanas belonging to Gandhara Grama associated with. Deities are also given, the deities details are given. Deities associated with Murchanas are, the Murchana, Gandhara is sung by Brahma along with Sauvira. Brahma is the Devata of Swara headed by Uttara. Murchana, Harinasya has its presiding deity as Indra. The Murchana, Karopanita, Vitata was sung by Maruts, the presiding deity in Swara Mandala. That is, Kalopanata effected by Kalas. The Murchana Shuddha Madhyama sprung up in Marudesha. Suddha Madhyama is a Swara note here and Gandharva is the presiding Devata. Murchana is associated with hermitages and also various voices of citizens. It is called as Rajani due to its association with Rajas. The Tala beating time is known as having Shadja as its deity. On that account, Uttara Tala is known as the first one, self-sustained as such. Uttara Mandra is the one and the Devata is Dhruva. Uttarayana having Devata as the starting point is Murchana, the deities of which are Pittats who are worshipped in Shraddhas. With the Shuddha Shadja Swara, that is note, the great sage adored Agni who have created the Murchana of the saints, so may assume the form of Panchama Swara and having created the Murchana of Yakshasis may become the Yakshika Murchana. The Murchana with snakes of poisonous eyes do not approach the serpent deities, become as it were drawn by Brahma is called the Murchana of serpents, Ahi Murchana. Here the deity is Varuna. So lot of Murchana's name along with their deities and the sounds are also given. So there should be some scientific reasons or the why such Murchanas are given such names. We need to do a detailed research on this to be done with the names of the Murchanas referred in this Vayu Purana with other textures by various other great authors or different other Puranas. Thank you.
It is all Greek and Latin to us. I think Rajalakshmi is not there. Probably she is there. You should see whether these names are still prevalent or if not, whether their names have changed. Somebody should do something about this. Even in Sangeeta Ratnakara, it is the same thing. When you go to Arthaśāstra, it is all the more bewildering because nothing is prevalent today. So please do some research on it. Thank you very much. What? Yeah, there will be, we are going to shortly bring out a book on music and musical instruments. Music in ancient India. So we'll be, I don't know whether she'll be discussing all these things. Let us see. That book is going to come. It may give us an answer. Anyway, to wind up the entire session today, we had a nice session with all different types of papers, interesting papers. Some may not be up to the mark because of the PPT. All the Malayalis, you should all prepare PPTs because your accents are very bad. We are not able to follow. So let me be very open about it, but it will help you when you are going to present papers later. Your papers are good. So if that goodness should be understood by people, then you should have the PPT. Okay, please do that. Otherwise, all the papers have been very good. We enjoyed a good session today. Now we will adjourn for the lunch upstairs, and then we will gather when. That is your job. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for chairing the session and giving us valuable inputs. We had also the pleasure and of listening to interesting papers and having discussion, especially Justice being here. I thank you, sir, for the discussion. And I also thank the endowment makers of Sri K. BALASUBRAMANIA IYER, Right Honorable V.S. Srinivasa Sastri, Srinivasa TATACHARI Endowments. And I request you all to join us for lunch, and we'll be back by 2 p.m. for the next session on the Dhanurveda and the Ayurveda, which will be chaired by Dr. L. Kumaraswamy, sir. So please, by 2 o'clock, we'll assemble here. Thank you.